Did I mess that up? Sorry. 30, 34 seconds in. My bad. I muted myself. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? We good? Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to remember to clip out the first 50 seconds. So the Toronto Raptors officially, I apologize for the beginning. The Toronto Raptors officially, the magic number is officially 1. The Raptors rest Scotty Barnes, shut down Grady Dick for the season, presumably are on the verge of announcing that Brandon Ingram is out for the season. Jakob Poeltl plays, Emmanuel quickly plays. Jacoby Walter has one of the best games of his season. Karen Hall, hi, how are you? This has been a long day, guys. We'll talk about it a little bit later. And I just want to give a shout out to my biggest fan, Haize. If you are watching, please call in. I beg you to call in. No boots, no moderators, call in. Okay? Because some shit went down last night. We had a 5-hour live, had to be clipped down to about 3 hours because it got off the rails. And, you know, sometimes I just say stuff. I say stuff, and I'm never expecting how someone might edit or reconstruct what I've said, right? Josh saying, yo, low key, it's possible to catch the Nets. Look at our schedule. Look at our schedule. How dare you? I'm your biggest fan. Fireballer7 saying, you're great on the panel pen. Don't let the chat get to you. The chat is not getting to me, my friend. Don't you worry. Today has been a hell of a day. It's been very, very much about becoming a little bit bulletproof here. All right. If you haven't noticed, the Toronto Raptors, here's a crazy stat that you may not be expecting. Do you know that the Toronto Raptors over the last 38 games are the number 3 defense in the NBA? And before you say soft schedule, take a look at some of the teams you faced over that stretch. You faced Houston, you faced Cleveland, you faced Miami, you faced Phoenix, you faced Boston, you faced Indiana. You faced OKC, you faced Memphis, you faced New York, you faced LA. All of those games factor into your number 3 defensive rating. You also beat Boston, beat Golden State, beat Atlanta 2 times. You beat Orlando. Again, these are playoff teams. I mean, Detroit, I don't think Detroit is in that cutoff. I think it's just these games. No, I do think Detroit is in that cutoff. 38 games, half a season. Ironically, kind of synchronizes with when RJ Barrett decided to be locking in. Rob crushing the panel, and all corners is my catharsis. That's funny. I read crashing out on the panel. That's hilarious. Yeah, there's a call-in link in the description. If anybody wants to call in, try to be respectful. I promise you, if it gets a little bit toxic, I'm booting you so fast. But I just don't have the patience for that shit. But the Raptors, despite all their winning, despite having a winning record for quite some time, have managed to be losers of 3 straight. And that is very clutch. They have lost the games that they were supposed to lose. They're doing themselves a favor. Now, unfortunately, you got 4 tough ones. And you need to lose just one of these games. Just one game. That's it. That's all you need. Ben, shut up. Nah, it's cool. Asking me to shut up on my own show? Are you insane? You want me to be silent? That's funny. Wow. But the Raptors have managed to lose 3 straight. I assure you, the next 4 are going to be damn near impossible to lose. So you really are praying right now on a San Antonio win at some point. And if we look at the Spurs schedule coming up, and I do think that we're all oddly curious about this, so let's just look at their schedule coming up. Do they have a game against a really bad team? They have one game against a potentially bad team. Their next game against a bad team. So if they don't lose to Portland, they're not beating LA. They're not beating Golden State. They're probably not going to beat Phoenix. So at this point, right, you pretty much are almost locked into if you don't manage to lose one of these next few games, they're not losing any of their next 5. You are going to be stuck on April 13th in a showdown for that 7th pick. There's some good news. And the good news is that you could potentially, what's the good news? You have the tie. You don't have the tiebreaker, but you've won. They beat you once. So if you do manage to lose, unfortunately, to San Antonio at San Antonio, it kind of helps that they're the home team as well. You can be a little bit more nasty with your tanking when you're the road team. Like you can just straight up play Cole Swider at point guard. Like you can go all out. You can say gloves are off, right? You can list Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram as all playing, and then 3 hours before the game, just take them all off the page and see if the Spurs are willing to do the same thing. It can be really only white people like Penn. Ooh, you're gross. You're banned. Don't bring race into this. Ban. And that's stupid. White people hate me. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's definitely not a white crowd, bro. I don't know if you understand the demographics of PENSARE basketball. I promise you, this is not a white demographic. It is a partially white demographic, but it's not a mainly white demographic. Appreciate you, Key. Appreciate you, Key. Actually, if you're not white and you do like me, can you please stand up and just there we go. That's 2. I'm so thankful to find 2 non-white people that like me. I'm so happy to hear that. So crazy, man. There we go. There's 3. We got 3. That's great. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Does 1/8 Jewish count? We will take it. Tetrahedron, we will take it. Appreciate you, bro. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's nuts. Half white, half black. There you go. That's Domo. Call in, bro. I appreciate you. Call in. I don't actually got nothing for you. So just call in. You wanted to debate the per 36? I promise you it's not going to be any weird energy. You wanted to debate the per 36? We can call in, we can talk about it. All right. What's good, Mariah? Is it Maria or Mariah? It's Maria. What's good, Maria? What's the live coming on the weekend? We are definitely talking about March Madness, bro. We got to talk about March Madness. Tomorrow is the Final Four. It's the square off. A 5-year-old who throws tantrums. Yo, W 5-year-olds. My goal in life is to be as 5 years old as humanly possible. You should connect with your inner child. It's good for you. 100%. So again, it's a tank off. And I'm just feeling like it's going to be hard to lose these next 4 games, but it seems like the Raptors are in full tank mode, man. I'm hyped. Appreciate you, Jay. I'm hyped for Duke tomorrow. Yo, I'm hyped too. I got to tell you, there's like a sneaky part of me that's just like, are they too young? But Derek Queen, you are a Raptor. Do you prefer Derek Queen over Kaman Malawach, though? That's a really good question. I feel like we need to have that debate. Yo, lock in. We've been tanking since October. What are you doing? When you put 5 rookies on your roster, you are tanking, bro. Why do people keep making accounts to come in here? Weird. I don't know. I don't know. Damn, bro. The trolls are out tonight. I'm actually getting a lot better at dealing with trolls right now. So I'm going to make sure today that no matter what happens, so help me God, and we will deal with this when we deal with it, that I am not going to crash out no matter what. I swear to God, I don't care who calls in. No crash outs tonight. I am very, very much, very chill, very zen tonight. Long story short, the Toronto Raptors are tanking. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce Scotty Barnes out. Also, to all the people saying Scotty hunting for All NBA because he's a money hungry, you know, that he's money grabbing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Scotty Barnes literally sit out so that he hits 64 games, so he doesn't make the 65 game, just as a middle finger to the media. In fact, I encourage it. I really do encourage it, just so people can know that they didn't know what they were talking about. You just gotta ignore them. How sad do you have to be to go on someone's channel to hate? Yo, man, the ad revenue does not discriminate. I will tell you that. The ad revenue does not discriminate. And I'm gonna tell you, like, we will talk about that later. I'm like itching to talk about it because it's right on the front of my mind, but I realize most people are not here to talk about that shit. Most people are here to talk about the Raptors. So let's talk about the Raptors. Okay. The Toronto Raptors, facing off against Detroit, and it was a competitive game, man. This could have been a blowout. This could have been bad. Okay, for the Raptors, from the Raptors' perspective, this could have been bad. Even with no Cade, even with no beef stew, unfortunately, the league suspending Isaiah Stewart. And I was just thinking about it. I'm like, oh man, Scotty, IQ, Jakob Pertl, no Cade. This could be bad. Like, this could be bad. The Pistons are good without Cade. I'm going to be honest about that. The Pistons are good without Cade. They're a good team. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers without Cade Cunningham. So they are capable, right? We here to expose you for being a racist and a narcissist. Oh, wait, ADHD narcissist. A racist ADHD narcissist. Is that a new archetype? Why don't you call in? You got a lot of energy. Why don't you call in? Talk to me. Talk to me. Tell me why I'm a racist, narcissist, and tell me how you diagnose me with ADHD. Please let me know. It'd be much easier. Yo, do you know how many families you're going to feed with the content clipping? We got probably Haize sitting there in his tidy whities with his cup of ice cream right now, just itching for one more crash out. Make it happen. Call in. I dare you. Okay. 23 points for Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim's been balling, man. And Malik, honestly, he's been balling too. He didn't have a great shooting night. Credit to the Raptors pressure defense. Dennis Schroeder, honestly, 5 turnovers. This is back-to-back games. Back-to-back games. I meant autism or whatever you have. I want you to Google a list of famous people with autism. In fact, I want you to specifically Google people who have Asperger's syndrome. You will not shame me for having Asperger's, buddy. And you know what? To your buddy Haize or to your clown leader Haize, I just want to say he tried to call me disabled today on X, and I said, bet. Put your resume online because there ain't no way a man who's damn near 40 hasn't out accomplished a person who's disabled. Apparently, I'm disabled. So if I'm disabled and I'm allegedly 5 feet tall, which I'm not, I promise. I just take a lot of pictures with some really tall girls. I don't know what to say. The internet be weird sometimes. If I'm disabled and I'm a narcissist and I'm racist and I'm short as hell, then all I asked him was post your resume. You must have been more successful than me. He ducked it, but I hope at some point he does. Go on Ox's channel and defend yourself, G. We are not in friendly waters over there. No, that's not friendly. You don't want to see Dion in real life, little girl. Are you Dion? What is going on? You probably like a calm 5'9". No, I'm legitimately 5'11", but you say whatever you want. Just block them. No, it's cool, man. What I say, the ad revenue sells, like it fills. Do you think at 12 o'clock after a Pistons Raptors game in which Scotty didn't play, Kay didn't play, that we would have 200 people in here without all this bullshit drama? The only thing I'm going to say is if the drama doesn't bother you, the drama sells. The drama is what it is. So let's just move on. This game was competitive at some point. The Raptors ended up closing the distance. They were down about, I think, 20 to 12. And then they go on a little bit of run. They kept it a little bit even, but then the Pistons just blew them out of the water in the second quarter. The Raptors in the third quarter get down by almost 20. I think it was 20 or 21. And then Jacoby Walter goes on like what felt like a 9-1, 9-0 run by himself. Jacoby was amazing tonight. And he is going to be largely the subject of this live because, I think a lot of people have been talking about Jacoby and they've been noticing these little flashes. We watched the Houston game where he just went off for 14 points to start the game. And you see these little flashes in a pan. It's like a quarter here, possession here. And you're like, shit, is this Devin Booker? Are we watching like a real star? Are we watching something? Okay, here's the thing, man. You say what you want. You call me what you want. The minute you all cap, you're done. You're actually getting booted if you all cap. So here's the thing. I'm gonna make you a deal. Okay. If you want my attention and you so desperately want my attention because you're writing in all caps like a child, super chat like a big boy. Okay. Spend your $2, your allowance, and super chat. If you don't want to super chat, don't all caps. You all caps, you're getting booted. You can make 10 accounts, you're getting booted on all of them. Don't all caps. Personal boundaries. All right. So I think the Pistons are a really deep team. And it's interesting. Like, sometimes you face a team and it's like a bit of a mirror. Oh, did you just all caps again? Peace out. Done. Just stop. We begging for money? We are not begging for money. We don't need that comment here. Okay. And overall, I'm a little bit like, I'm a little bit all over the place here. To my surprise, Cole Swider, Jared Rhoden, Jamal Shed, and Jacoby Walter technically won their minutes tonight. It was largely the Jamison Battle minutes. Those 23 minutes of Jamison Battle were negative 30, which is crazy. Orlando Robinson. I do think Emmanuel quickly struggled hard with the shot making. There were some questionable shots, right? Like some very questionable shots. I appreciate you saying nice things, but the all caps rule still applies. No all caps, please. I'm actually going to keep this up here as a nice little reminder to stay on the Raptors. I apologize. I actually do sound like I have ADHD right now because I'm like watching the chat, watching this, watching that. Cool. To Domo, if you're still watching, per chance, legit call in. I actually want to have this debate about the per 36 minutes, and I'm not trying to get like angry or snippy or whatever, but you said that you would want to have that debate anytime. I think it would be really good for me to try to understand why per 36 minutes is a made up stat, because that comment blew my mind yesterday when that dude came up and said it. I didn't handle it well, but I think I'm in a better place to hear that argument today. Emmanuel quickly, like, I think he just struggled with the shot making, but overall, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. I think it was some really good playmaking. There was like a really great pass to Jakob Poeltl. That was great. Yak has just kind of given up. How I come up. So there's a link in the description for StreamYard. You've obviously used StreamYard because you've been on because you've been on PC. If you look in the description, there's a link for Colin. If you don't have it, I can literally put it in the chat right here. I need about, I want to say, give me 3-4 minutes to talk about this game, and then just call in. We could hash it out. We can talk about it. Yeah, and then off the bench, I mean, Jamal Shed, man. What can I say about Jamal Shed? The point of attack defense that this guy is playing, the consistent pressure, occasional shot making. The shot is obviously a work in progress. We're having that shot, come through the Darko system, the Raptors development system. But I fully expect that at some point we are going to see Jamal Shed be like a 37 to 38% 3-point shooter. At which point, yo, you solved your backup point guard spot. You just solved it. It's perfect. It's done. Jacoby Walter, that's another story, man. Like the stuff that this guy's doing, like off the dribble, pull up threes, the pressure defense. I feel like this is the shit that people are glazing Stephon Castle for. I will remind you of a very, very fun fact. Now, people get all caught up in where you got drafted, right? Everyone's like, oh, this guy got drafted here. This guy got drafted here. I will remind you of another Raptors rookie that got drafted later in the first round that was mocked as a lottery pick. His name, OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, about 4 months before his injury at Indiana, was mocked consistently as a top 10 pick. He gets injured in Indiana. His season ends soon. And suddenly, he's not a top 10 pick anymore. And he falls right down to 23 because there's a lot of concerns. A lot of concerns about a rookie who misses training camp. Jacoby Walter, January 2024. It's so funny what 6 months makes such a difference. To start out his college season, so the first 7 games, Jacoby was hooping. He couldn't miss a shot. He was showing all sorts of 3-level scoring potential. He was getting to the rim at will. And one of my favorite podcasters who covers the draft, Raphael Barlow, went on record and said, I think he's a top 3 pick. Top 3. Granted, it's a weak draft, but top 3 is still top 3. The fact that he fell to 19 to the Raptors meant, for a lot of fans, this was an afterthought. And at the draft night, I cannot hide the fact that I preferred EMC. But it took about 2 days for me to realize why I was wrong as I looked through Jacoby's high school tape. And today I saw a really interesting comment on X where someone said, Jacoby wasn't doing any of this in Baylor. How did Masai see this? And I think that's where we got to go back to scouting. If y'all remember when I interviewed Brian Macon, Scottish trainer, he said when he saw Trae Young in EYBL, in the Nike EYBL, that's when he saw like the vision of what Trae Young actually is as a hooper. You didn't see him in college. And it's the same thing with Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, whatever. Y'all rate college way too much. Sometimes guys just end up in the really wrong system. I think Jacoby ended up in a very wrong system for himself at Baylor. And I feel like we need to keep that in mind when we're evaluating a player like VJ Edgecombe in this draft cycle, because he's playing for the same coach in the same system at the same position, literally replaced Jacoby. I think in Jacoby, you have a future staple, a top 8 guy in your rotation. And I think tonight, granted, it's hard to prove anything on a lottery team. There's been a lot of players who've had some big performances on lottery teams. Malachi Flynn had some big performances in Tampa. Doesn't count for shit. Malachi Flynn scored 52 points for the Pistons. Didn't count for shit. He's still out of the league. And now you got guys like Luke Jackson who scored 30 points for the Raptors. It didn't matter. But this didn't feel like one of those games. This felt like a game the Pistons wanted. They played hard. They played scrappy. They played undermanned. And they played Pistons basketball. And Pistons basketball is scrappy as shit. And the fact that Jacoby Walter has not only done this against, we got the Pistons and the Rockets. 2 games that really stood out. One was his hometown team, the Rockets. Great defense. Great defenders, great defense. He went out and balled out. Doing this against the Pistons, who are top 10 defense, is very impressive. Anyways, we're going to bring Domo on. Domo is a content creator. He is an OG for the PC community. I think a lot of people here will probably recognize him. I'm going to bring him on. We're trying to keep it very respectful. Hang on. Domo, what is up?
Yo, what's up, bro?
Good.
All right. How you doing, Pen? How you doing?
It's been a fun day, man.
It's been a very, very crazy week. Very fun week, in my opinion. Very fun week on my end. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, you getting the content, man. Get the paper.
Listen, man, ain't that what it's all about at the end of the day? No. Being genuine though. One, I do want to say, just when I first clicked on the stream, I seen you had said, if you're not white and you're a fan, please stand up. Do you have a feeling that a lot of non-white fans over on the PC side or in people's communities don't like you?
No. Somebody
Okay.
said that only white people like pen. Someone said that in the chat.
Okay.
I've looked at our demographics. We've had a lot of I run a film festival here, so I get to meet a lot of the people who are actually community members here, and they get to meet me. I think 80% of the people that I met weren't white. So I just noticed that our community isn't very white, which is not
Mhm.
necessarily what you would expect because I am. And I think a lot of people maybe misjudge that and they assume because I'm a white content creator that my audience must be primarily white. It's just not true. The vast majority of our audience, I would say, is not white. And it also helps that Toronto is a very, very multicultural, city.
Got you. Got you. Just wanted to clear that up. When I first clicked out, I know people in my chat were saying that whatever the case was. Secondly, with all the drama and stuff going on, I know we're going to definitely do the per 36 thing. I just,
Facts.
I'm just keeping a whole hundred. Ox is streaming. There's a lot of noise on a lot of sides of people. People love drama. People love drama. People love it for the content reasons, whatever it is. So I just want to ask the questions, get it out the way, and then we can talk about what we got to talk about. I just have to ask, in terms of your issues when it comes to Haize, Gifted, whoever it is that you have issues, quarrels, arguments, spats, even Ox, anything. Do you not see how probably any way you talk to them would provoke them to have some type of issue with you?
Sure. I see it. I
Okay.
definitely see it. Yeah, absolutely. I could understand that for sure.
So you can understand how you would come off when people do say you're condescending. You come off condescending, arrogant, narcissistic,
Mhm.
whatever it is. You can't understand why people would say that. You can see the clips, you can see the interactions, not even the clips, just the context of the clips or what led up to it. You could see that and say, okay, I can understand how that could have escalated anything.
Sure, absolutely. I can totally understand that. You could ask anyone in our community. I don't I
Mhm.
where I I don't hide from that. Like I can be rude. I can definitely be a little bit condescending. I think I could be boring sometimes. I never thought I was boring until I got on PC. And then suddenly it was like, shit, people are like, why is he talking so slow? It's putting me to sleep. He's rambling. And I was like, okay, work on that. Try to be a little bit more energetic in your conversation style. Try to, maybe alter the passive. I can ramble a little bit. I understand that. Yeah, I can totally understand why someone would look at an interaction and be like, yo, he was wilding a little bit. Like he was asking for that. He was asking for that. I can totally understand that. Yeah.
All right, well, hey, at least on my side, chat, I don't know. Motherfuckers make it seem like he was blind to the facts. I don't know. He seems like he can take accountability. So we got that out the way. That was my only issues that I had that I addressed and brought up. Cool. He can take accountability for how he talks to people and understand how that would make them want to crash out. I have no issues. We've never had any issues. I don't know if I've said that on my side or if that's been put out.
No?
We haven't had any issues. I was there when you first got on PC. I mean, listen, PC brings on a lot of different type of characters, a lot of people that talk to people all types of ways. So
Sure.
I didn't take any offense to how you were doing things at first. Now I will say since I've left, I haven't been tuned into a lot of the episodes. So I'm just hearing he say, she say about how a lot of engagements go on, and I can just see based off of the clips. So in my opinion, like I don't want people to know I don't genuinely have a problem with you. I just hear about the stuff that goes on or from people about what you do and then go from there. But I have, as you can see, I have no issue coming to have a conversation with you and keeping it cordial. We don't gotta take it there. We don't got no beef. So
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. There's certain people that just kind of rub me the wrong way. There's like certain energies and certain people. I'm sure there's people in your life that you've kind of come across. Maybe you talk to them for 2 minutes at a party and you're like, not for me. I can't deal with this energy, right? And whereas some people are very political about it, they'll excuse themselves from a situation, they'll politely decline shit. I'm just gonna straight say you're dumb. And I don't really have a filter. And I think that can be very off-putting for some people. It's a very, people can consider it like a really nasty personality trait because most people do have a filter, right? I get a lot of people telling me that I gotta watch myself when I say this or watch myself when I say that. I don't really watch myself when I say anything. I don't really, I don't really filter myself. If I think it, I'm gonna say it. If I feel it, I'm gonna say it. If I don't like you, I'm gonna tell you I don't like you. If I do like you, even if you're telling me I hate your guts, you're the biggest bitch on earth. I'm gonna be like, I really don't have a problem with you. I'm sorry you feel that way. It's just straight. Like I'm not a liar. I'm not gonna lie. So that's what it is. But you know, you're sitting on a fence. Obviously, you're a lot closer to the people on the other side of this. Let's be honest, right? They're in your streams. I'm not in your streams. What is your opinion on this?
Um, to keep it all the way 100. All this shit is good for content. So I'm all for. Well, let me just say, I'm all for keeping things respectful until people take it to a certain level. So we're having this conversation. We're having it at this level. We both understand it's here. Cool. Now, if we're having this conversation and then you make a jab, you make a joke, you be dismissive, you do anything of that nature, I'm the type of person where, all right, bet you took it there, I'm going to go there with you. So then
Sure.
we're going to go there. So however far someone's willing to go, I'm willing to go personally. So in terms of how you may talk to people or how people talk, like how you may have talked to people, how you come off, I don't have a problem with it because I know how people talk to each other on the internet, especially over basketball debates. From everything that I witnessed, and it's only just been it's only been the gifted thing, the stream of gifted.
Just keep it straight, man. You don't have to you don't have to be kind about this. Just say it. If you think I'm a crash out, say I'm a crash out.
No, listen. I'm being 100% honest. I'm
Okay.
being genuine with you. Just from what I've seen, it came off as you're being a crash out. Like, yes, it did come off as you being a crash out. It did come off as you took it somewhere with gifted where it didn't seem he was taking it with you or it needed to go until it went there. Even in my stream, when I first seen the clip of originally what you had posted the monologue or you posted a couple paragraphs with the clips and chopped up of what happened that night.
I didn't chop it up.
Or whatever the video was.
So hang on.
The first one I seen was the chopped up one.
Give me 1 sec here. I didn't chop up my video. Let's still be clear. I posted a 49-second clip, and then somebody said you didn't provide all the context, and then they edited a clip that was very chopped up.
That was Double D.
Whoever that is. I don't know these people. So that person chopped it up. I posted 49 seconds to say to the people who came to watch me on playback, because I push playback as hard as I can on our channel. And I know that some of our community members go over there to watch whatever we're watching. I posted it as saying, I got to be better because I can't be crashing out like this. I'm 37 years old. It's not for me. And I basically said it as some people just shouldn't be in the same room. And I meant it how I said it. I don't want to be in the same room as certain people. I literally told Ron, I messaged him the next day when it happened. I said, my bad if I went too far. I would prefer not to be on stage with Gifted if possible in the future because I can't stand them. So that's it. That's what it is. So some people don't need to be in the same room and I need to be better I'm a victim. How did that equation come up? I wasn't trying to play victim. I didn't say, can you believe these people jumped me? I didn't say that. Can you believe the terrible shit that they're saying? I didn't say that. I didn't sound like a victim in my head, but apparently you can understand that when you don't like somebody, their actions do seem weirder to you, right? Like
yes, absolutely.
There is a perspective bias there. So when it comes to Gifted, Haize, sometimes Ox, but I genuinely like Ox. That's the funniest thing. Like I may disagree with him and I don't like how the energy kept towards me on the last time I was on the panel and tonight, but I genuinely like Ox. Like I don't dislike Ox, but with Gifted and Haize, it's a completely different story. And those two are like, I just don't appreciate the energy. I don't appreciate like how you're going to say some shit like Gifted is a DEI hire in the chat. And then when I call you on that and say that's uncalled for, like, why are you saying that? You'd be like, no, you just don't get jokes because you don't have a sense of humor or whatever he said. Stuff like that. He'd be always bringing it to race. That I also don't appreciate. Like Haize is always bringing shit to race. And I don't care if it's a joke. It's like some of the shit ain't funny to me. Because if you've been in any of the PC chats, I get accused of a lot of stuff. Pen slur, pen N-word, N-word, sorry, basketball. You went to KKK, Columbia University. I don't read that shit every day. And I've messaged, PC and said, can y'all deal with this? Because this is like, is bothering me, genuinely. It's repetitive. It's incessant. It's unnecessary and it's uncalled for. I've never done a racist thing in my life. I don't deserve that. And being the only white guy on the panel doesn't necessarily equate to I get to be, called all sorts of names for that shit. Keep it to basketball. You want to say I'm a dummy for the Cade shit? I don't really care about that. That's cool. I look dumb as hell this year. Damn, I look stupid as shit this year. Surprised I have a fucking platform right now. No, if it's basketball, it's basketball. It was when it goes beyond basketball that it bothers me. And with the gifted and Haize thing, it's actually identical energies. It's just that sort of sneaky, eye rolling shit that I just can't stand. I consider it very feminine, personally. Like if you're gonna roll your eyes because I'm saying shit, like you know what I mean, like even the clip that I posted where Gifted's like doing all the animated stuff. You're for the
Mhm.
content. You're for the drama. That's maybe that's what you like. I'm not a drama person, man. You may not believe that, but I'm not for the drama. I live as drama free a life as possible. When I have drama llamas in my life, I cut them out real fast. I'm not for the trolling. That might not be, necessarily what PC's going for because Mars is the biggest troll on Earth, and
Absolutely.
he's cool. He's a really cool dude,
Mars
but
my guy.
he
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
tro-
Mars
he
my
trolls
guy.
constantly. Ox is
Absolutely.
trolling. Look, the Ron, damn Ron, Ron be the biggest troll ever. But I'm not necessarily for the trolling, but I can deal with it when it's good-hearted and it's lighthearted. When it's mean-spirited, that's where I draw the line. The other thing is, I'll say, and not to be long-winded here, I'm new to PC. I'm
Mhm.
probably new to you. You didn't know who the hell I was a year ago, a year and a half ago, and nor should you. Nor should you. But just because I'm new to PC doesn't mean I'm new to life, right? I put my grind in the content game. I've written for publications for basketball. I've covered basketball for 20 years. I've studied this game for 25 years. Coming up and being little broed by a person that I do not respect and gifted, what is greatness? What's greatness to you? I don't know. Maybe it's just a voice. Maybe it's something. That kind of set me off. I said, eat your crackers. That to me, like that's all it is. It's like respect to respect. You're never going to see me say nothing to Cho. You're never going to see me say nothing to Jordan. You're never going to see me say nothing to Ticket TV, even though you had your issues with Ticket. I'm never going to say nothing to Ticket. It's just a direct energy that I can deal with. I can deal with people being direct. You're being direct right now, so we're cool. If you were taking
Mhm.
side swipes and being like, passive aggressive and shit, the energy would be totally different.
Mhm. Um, on your super chat. I mean, yeah, Gift is my guy. So in that situation, I said it I said it on my video, on my live. I say it again. In that situation, based on what I've seen, yeah, I was on Gifted's side in that particular engagement. I
Sure,
felt Penn was in the wrong. So yes, I took a side with the guy that I knew. I'm not here just blowing
that's
off
cool.
what Penn is saying for the sake of me being cool with Gifted. Like, nah, I'm hearing him out. I'm hearing his side of things. I haven't heard his side. Why would I not want to hear both sides of a disagreement, engagement, whatever it is with anybody? I will want to say I did hear you say the guys that you wouldn't say anything to him on the PC side. And I would just want to ask because I was in Ox's stream and I did hear what gripes he had with you. Do you not see? And I don't know what happened. I don't know the context of things. I'm just being told what happened or the issues people have. Apparently, there was something along the lines of you dismissed something he said and said, let me just refer to Jordan. I'll ask Jordan because I actually respect what he's done with the game of basketball, in the game of basketball, whatever it was. Kind of dismissive to what Ox has done.
I would love to hear that clip. I don't remember saying that. I'm not capping here. I'm not deflecting. If the clip exists, please let me know where it is. I'm happy to. I don't. That doesn't sound like something I would say. I wouldn't. I definitely respect Jordan's perspective. He's a trainer. I know him. I've followed him for a while. I definitely respect the perspective, but that wouldn't mean that I would just say like I don't think you've done anything in the game of basketball. Ox has played the game of basketball at a way higher level than I've ever played it. I wouldn't say that. No, I don't think I said that.
Okay, well,
I
that,
definitely picked Jordan to beat him in the PCO. That I
mhm.
definitely said. I 100% stand on that. And I said, say it with me, Ox. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. I definitely said that too. If I say something, I'm gonna stand on it. Like yesterday, I did call the dude dumb, 100%. Did I vent for an hour and a half about losing the PCO? Yes, I did. Yes, I did, because I feel like I got jobbed. I played both. I played the debate out for my audience and just let them take the side and let me know if I'm wrong. I think my opponent interrupted me. I think my opponent lied multiple times. I think your friend Gifted went on from the logo and said that I lied about Isaiah Joe's positional versatility defensively. So I made a clip about that, and I made a point to show that I was not lying. I just don't appreciate being called a liar when I'm not lying. That's kind of frustrating to me. So, like if you told me that, I don't know, you told me like your your shoes are red. And I was just like, no, your shoes are blue. That'd be pretty frustrating, right? Like, how the hell do I know? Yeah,
I can understand that. I can understand. I can understand that. Well, that was all only questions I had. We can definitely talk about the per 36 thing.
great.
I just want to again reiterate because I'm also streaming on my side. So for the sake of the clip on my side chat, I don't really have issues with Penn. So I asked the questions I wanted to ask. Everything's cordial on this side. There's no real issues. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so please help me understand why per 36 minutes is a what did you call it? Did you call it fake or hypothetical?
I said
Hypothetical. Okay.
I believe
Cool.
it's a hypothetical stat.
Cool. So the person yesterday, I just want to give you the context of the conversation, and then please let me know where you think I'm wrong. Hang on one second. So the person who called in yesterday was a PC regular. I'm positive they were a PC regular because Haize literally tagged them in the post an hour later as he clip farmed. And they were talking about Scotty Barnes' numbers being down this year per game, right? And I mentioned the fact that, hey, he's playing fewer minutes. If you look at the numbers per 36, because the Raptors are tanking. You've been playing them 24 minutes, 26 minutes, 28 minutes, 22 minutes. So the numbers, the minutes are down, right? So my perspective on this was to equalize his performance to last year and the year before and the year before, we need a metric like per 75, per 100, or per 36 so we can see if he's getting better. And I proved that per 36 and per 100, he was getting to the line more, taking more shots, scoring more points. So even though the PPG was down and the APG or whatever is flatlining, I wanted to point out that, hey, in spite of all this is still real. He said it's a fake stat. Why are you always using fake stats to prop up? That's what I said. So, yeah. Now, please tell me why it's hypothetical.
Yeah. In terms of it, I understand it's not a fake stat. I understand what it calculates and what it tracks and what it's supposed to represent. I definitely get that. Just my whole stance on this, and this has been something going on for way back when years with my co-host B-Souls, because he's on your side. He doesn't believe it's a hypothetical stat. My whole thing with it being a hypothetical stat is just it's supposed to represent, in a very, very, very basic or common way of explaining it, it's supposed to represent what you would do if you played 36 minutes, correct? On the layman's terms of it, like layman's terms of it.
Partially.
So when I first understood the stat, I just said, yeah, that's hypothetical. If it's just calculating the rate of what you would do if you did play 36 minutes. So if you played 10 minutes a game and it took the 5 points, 4 rebounds, well, 5 points, 3 rebounds, whatever it was, the 3 field goals you attempted at the 35% or 40% rate or whatever it was, and then it calculates, okay, if you multiply that and assume he did this at this exact same rate for 36 minutes, this is what his stats would be, correct?
That I agree with. So here's where I'll push back. It's not the same thing if we're saying, okay, let's just say there's a role player who comes off the bench in garbage time, puts up big buckets against garbage lineups. He plays 7 minutes a game. He averages 6 points per game or 7 points per game. And I say he averages 36 points per 36 minutes. So he's better than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's insane, right? We can all agree on that. But using a player and the same player, I'm not comparing Scotty Barnes to anybody. I'm comparing Scotty Barnes to Scotty Barnes to Scotty Barnes to Scotty Barnes through 4 years and showing that he is taking 15 shots per 100 possessions and then 20 shots per or 17 shots per 100 possessions, 20 shots per 100 possessions, 22 shots per one. I'm showing it's going up. So it's just a rate. And by the way, he's been a starter his whole career. So I'm not comparing a guy who's playing 10 minutes to another guy who's playing 35 minutes. I'm comparing a guy who's playing 33 minutes to a guy who used to play 32 minutes to a guy who plays 31 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's very similar. The problem is when people, especially Raptor fans who are crashing out right now about building around Scotty and they think he's a bum or whatever the hell they think, when they see the number of points, like that raw total of points per game, Last year, it was like 19.9. It used to be like 22, but it went down to 19.9 because he kind of dipped at the end of the season. When they see that number go down from 19.9 to like 19.2, they get really panicked that he's going backwards. And what I'm trying to show them is he's playing fewer minutes. That's why the number's going backwards. So what I would ask you is one question. If I told you there's one player who scores 25 points in 30 minutes, right? And then there's another player who scores 26 points in 38 minutes, who's the better scorer to you?
Just using just that, the first player was averaging how much on how many minutes?
25 points per game in 30 minutes. And the other guy is scoring 26 points, but he's taking 38 minutes. So he's taking 8 minutes.
The guy in 25 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it was.
Because the second guy scores more points. He's scoring one more point, right? But 8 minutes is a long time to score 1 point. That's what per 36 minutes is attempting to equate. So when people brush away per 36 as a hypothetical stat, I understand it if you're using it to prop up like a role player who plays 6 minutes to say this is what he would do in 36 minutes. But if you're using it as a steady progression to show how much better a player is getting year over year who's consistently a starter, I think it's really useful.
I can understand that. But even in the scenario you gave where a player is playing 20 minutes and give you 25 points versus the player playing 38 minutes and give you 26, it would just be me assuming and making an assumption that given more minutes, he would do more. He would have more points. He would be able to average that. And that is what, and again, that is what people, I guess, misuse per 36 in a lot of hypothetical situations. So I wouldn't even say, so I can concede and say, okay, per 36 isn't necessarily a hypothetical stat, but a lot of people use it in a hypothetical way. Is that fair?
A lot of people do, but I think a lot of people misstate numbers to mean different things. I think people go online and just go to imright.com and they find whatever number agrees with whatever they think. So if they think that Daniel Gafford is a better player than Jaylen Brown, they're going to be like, look, he has a higher PER, so therefore he's better. And I think it takes a lot of people hearing those types of stupid arguments and saying, I hate advanced analytics because these nerds keep using it to make these bullshit points and they don't know anything about basketball. And I do agree that nerds have basically infiltrated this space in a lot of ways, talking about numbers, and a lot of it doesn't make sense, but some of it does. Some of it does. And I think that it's important to practice some discretion. Now I'm gonna bring two more people up here. One of them is Haize, and the other one is Coach Mo. Coach Mo is a regular caller on our side. And Haize, you mind?
Go ahead, do your thing, man.
Okay, Coach Mo, what's good? Haize, what's good?
Who's talking? I don't want to step on nobody.
No, you good?
Okay. So I just wanted to clear up some things because I noticed in your conversation with Domo where some things have been perceived that's different, right? So I'm gonna, and please feel free to call me out because we're just having a conversation here. Anytime, Pen, that even with me and you having our back-to-back in PC, anytime somebody's called you racist, I've literally said, hey, Pen may be a lot of things, but he's not racist. So when you say things like on this stream, like I've labeled the racist stuff towards you, that's just false. Like we can go back and pull it. Anytime, no matter what me and you are arguing about or whatever, anytime somebody done the Pen slur, I said, hey, yo, let's chill out on that. Anytime somebody said that you said the N-word, I said Pen's never said the N-word. That was a fake page. So I just want to perceive that, right? I want to get that clear.
You called me racist.
Okay.
I said cool. You bring race into a lot of things, which I find annoying.
Well, and so that's also what I want to talk about. When I bring race into things, it's the people that joke that we have, like the DEI thing with Gifted was a piggyback off a private conversation that, well, not private. We've had it even on from the logo before. So when you take offense to that, to me at that point in time, it comes off like a chill out, because that's a me and Gifted. Does that make sense? Like, sure. And I know you don't have that form of reference, but like me making that joke to Gifted at that time, and I know you've brought it up repeatedly before, it's because that is a me and Gifted joke, right? That's something that we have done with each other before. So I wanted to bring that part up in it. And then on top of that, when today you said earlier, just a couple of minutes ago with Domo, that I tagged the guy that you had your back and forth with. I didn't tag. I've never seen that guy in my life. The guy that I tagged was somebody that tagged me in something earlier about you. So I don't know that guy at all. And that probably, it linked back to earlier when me and you were talking, you were saying that you felt that I sent somebody to your chat, which I've honestly never done. And I'm starting to notice things that you have perceived, and your truth is your truth, right? I don't want to take that away from you, but I wanted to clear it up so we can have a conversation about it, so that if you want to ask me about it, we can, and then we can deal with the other stuff. But I think we gotta clear out the perception from the reality first, and then we can have a conversation about the reality. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Perception number one, when you say that you want to play, that you specifically said, Pen, Gifted, I want to see if there can be some peace here, right? Gifted's my boy, but I'm going to try to shoot straight, or whatever you said. I don't want to misquote you. I don't believe at all that you had any intention of being impartial in that judgment.
Okay.
And I can feel that from your response to me when I pushed back on you. Now, before you started that, you said, you can feel free to tell me to shut the fuck up. That's literally what you said. You said, feel free to tell me to shut the fuck up if I go too far, if you don't want to talk about it. But when I said when I said Haize, nobody cares about this, we're on PC, let's stop, because I really wanted to respect the platform. See, you may perceive that as I was trying to little boy you or son you or something. I was not. My goal on that stream, I didn't know you were coming up. I didn't know Gifted was coming up. I should have expected it, since y'all had.
Can I stop you there?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go back to the start of that stream. When you started that stream, and I was the first one in the comment section commenting, you said, Haize, come on up. That's when I came up. And you may not remember that. We can go back and watch it together. Literally. Oh, remember, you didn't press record initially. So the first part of that stream isn't recorded. Remember, because you were live. You literally said, Haize, come on up. Because it was me, it was Tank commenting, and you said, Haize, come on up. That's why I came up on that chat. And I swear to God, literally, Pen.
Okay. That sounds about right. It's probably because you and me were going back and forth in the comments, right?
And that's granted, right? And then when I first came in to that chat, people were like, are y'all cool now? Because I didn't come like with the energy from the chat, right? I came, can we agree to that? When I initially came into the stream, did I come with coming at you about anything from the chat?
No, you didn't.
Okay. I want us to have a chance of anything that's perceived differently. I want us to be able to have that conversation.
Sure.
So when you say that you felt like I didn't truly want to mediate, and the reason why I did go off the way I did, now I as an adult could have communicated it better. But literally, when you told me to shut the fuck up, the next thing out of my mouth was about to be, hey, Gifted, and you do this to, that's literally where I was going next with it. So in my mind, in a time where I'm about to tell my boy, hey, not boy, but like my friend, hey, Gifted, this is where you're tripping with Pen at. That was the thing, because if you go back and watch that clip, I literally, as you said, shut the fuck up, I was saying, and Gifted, and then you were, hey, say Haize, and then I stopped. You said, hey, shut the fuck up. So in my mind, I'm literally about to tell Gifted, hey, you're taking offense to Pen, and I don't think you're trying to hear Pen's side out as much, because you're upset about other things that he said before, which could be valid. So I initially, at that point in time, all right, bet it's like, to me, from my perception, which again could be off, it's I'm about to tell Gifted he's tripping on something, and I'm being told to shut the fuck up after Gifted asked me a question. And that was, if you remember correctly, that's the only reason I started talking. He said, hey, Haize, what do you think? And I can't remember the way he phrased it, asked it. I was going through I could be very long-winded like I'm being now, but the very next thing out of my mouth was about to be like, hey, Gifted, this is what you're doing. And you can see that in the clip if you go back and watch it. Literally, right before you said, hey, shut the fuck up, the last words out of my mouth was, and Gifted. And then you told me to shut the fuck up. And then I went in.
I'm having trouble. Was it the Lakers versus the Houston game?
It was wasn't it a
Detroit
game? It was Lakers. I don't remember.
Okay. Right. It was that. Did we? Oh, no. PC removed it.
They probably removed it because of the drama.
Damn it. So I remember it very differently. I remember you saying I was like a scorned lover. I
did say that, and I take accountability for that. The first thing, and that's what I was getting into. I had said, hey, Pen, you come off like a scorned lover, and Gifted, and you told me to shut the fuck up. Now, granted, in the sense of objectivity, you were already going back and forth with Gifted. in hindsight, I should have started off first with the things that I felt Gifted was doing, so it didn't feel like we were piling on you. Because I can only imagine in that situation, it feels like, well, damn, Gifted just got done yelling at me. Haize is about to start yelling, but God's sign is truth. I was about to start going in on Gifted, not going in, but I was about to start telling Gifted, I think you're tripping about these things. And to be where I was told to shut the fuck up at, that's when the red lights came on to me.
Right. So I don't remember it that way. I think you went off a lot longer than one sentence.
I probably did.
I think you went off like, unfortunately, the clip has been deleted, so we'll never know. But I would assume probably, if I remember correctly, because I have watched that clip back, I think you went off for about 7-8 sentences. And it started with, Pen, if I'm being honest, you come off like a scorned lover. And then you went off on 6-7 extra sentences, at which point I just started saying, Haize, 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 Haize. This ain't about you. This ain't about me. This is about, we're on playback, la, 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 la. And you just said, hang on. I gave you a chance to talk. I didn't cut you off. And I said, like, I think I just told you at that point to shut the fuck up. Anyways, that's where that was. I don't think this is a very uneventful beef for me. It's I mean, you know, people are interpreting your what was your comment? I'll see you at PC weekend as a threat. Domo apparently allegedly said that I will never show up at PC weekend because you said that. Like, he said, I know Penn's never shown up to PC weekend because, you know, all this stuff. But, you know, I don't think anyone who spazzed out the way you did at me didn't already hold some sort of feelings towards me. Like, I don't think that's possible. Like, there ain't no way that you're telling me that I'm too short to stand on a high horse if you don't already have some feelings towards me. So if you took offense to being told to shut the fuck up, I will literally tell you before you started talking, your direct quote, and I swear to God, this is true. If you don't want me to talk about this, just tell me to shut the fuck up. I literally quoted you.
But in that sense, to me, and I did say that, I'll take that. And let me address two things. First, I've never had, like, even after our debate last year, if you remember correctly in the comment section, me and you had a pretty good, you had a problem with the judges and ranking them, but me and you had a pretty good back and forth. I was like, hey, and you yourself said, yeah, you know what, I could have been strong on those points. We good. We watched it. I don't think we ever even interacted between now and this year. So I haven't had so you know, I watched the panel in phases, right? I'll be heavily watching the panel for a week. I won't watch it for another month. I'll heavily watch it for 2 weeks. I may not watch it again for 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. I work during that time. Just depends on the volume of the day, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't have any PC. I, for example, I'm new to PC. Like, I'm probably newer to PC than you. I've been with PC less than a year, right? I think I'm coming up on my year. I think I'm coming up on it. So, like, I'm finding out now the stuff with Low and all this in the past. I had so I don't want you to think it has anything to do with that. I've never met Low. I've never talked to Low. I never met Domo before this week. I never talked to Domo before this week. Of course, me and Gifted know each other, but you've never come up in conversations before this drama has come up. So that thing of that you feel like I had a already beef with you, I didn't. My beef literally started with you the day me and you started going back in the one debate in the comment section. Before then, I had nothing against Penn. The only interaction we had was really positive. We had a debate, so I've never had that. So I mean, I can understand where you come from with that. Me, the person that I am, right, is that once it's on with me, it's on, and it takes a lot to get off. For example, I thank God that you had the conversation with Domo that you did, because and maybe that was just my calmer head. As you were talking, I was realizing, all right, these are things that he's perceiving that I have a completely different perception on. So let's have a conversation about it. Like, specifically the racist part, right? Like, and we talked about that. I've never, anytime anybody has used me, you going back and forth as a jumping point to get into the racist conversation, I've always corrected them and be like, hey, calm down on that. The man's not a racist. They can tell you in the chat, anybody who's in there.
I've seen you say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, okay. So you've seen me interact with people, a lot of people of color, you know, because that's
why I always do back the you're not a racist thing.
Sure. Right? So again, have you perceived anything from me that would make you feel like I might be
a racist? No. That's why I feel very confident in telling you, you're telling people you're not a racist. Cool. Now, I do think that I have perceived some things from you as far as entitlement, but that's not a race thing. I feel like a lot of us
It
on
can be.
PC have our own entitlements, right? That's not a pen thing, right? So,
Sure.
but yeah, I haven't, no, not racist, not to me.
So
Now,
here's the thing.
go ahead.
Consistently, I have faced the accusations on the PC chat of this, largely
Mhm.
stemming from a troll account going on playback, I think on Lowe's room or somebody's room 4 or 5 months ago. I don't remember when it was. But suddenly after that, there was a lot of pushback on this. You said the N word, you said the N word, blah, 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 blah. And it's always been this sort of weird. I'm gonna say this to you, and I don't know if if I'm in hostile territory saying this. I'm very B1 as it comes to my life. My whole life, I've always been that way. It's partially because of where I grew up. You may not see that looking at me. You may assume different things about me, but all things equal, 100%. It's not that I'm not racist. It's literally the opposite. That if there was like, you find it interesting that my favorite player is black, and I probably have never said probably never said 10 positive things about a white player on the panel once, that I don't necessarily fall into that category. And yet, you got Ox up there always talking about Domas. You got Swiper up there always talking about Jokic. I'm Serbian. I'm literally from the country that Jokic is from, and I would pick Shea for my MVP. What does that say? You know, it's just weird to me. It's very weird. This energy is weird.
Mhm.
I grew up in Washington Heights. When I wasn't growing up in Washington Heights, I was in the Bronx. I was in Newark. Lived in Scarborough. I've never had an issue like this before I got to PC. I've never been accused of this shit before I got to PC. It's very unsettling. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And when you don't hold any of that in your heart to be called that constantly, that's very weird to me. That's very weird to me. So I hope that you can understand from my perspective that that shit's unsettling. Imagine if you came in here, or if you went to, I don't know, like one of those white podcast places, and everyone in the chat be calling you racist. And the moderator's not doing anything about it. The people that are on the screen are kind of joking about it.
Mhm.
And you are you're one of one up there. You're the only black person up there. And there's like 5, 6 white people, and the entire chat's full of white people, and they're just calling you racist, and it's totally unfounded. It's weird. I'm not crying victim, please understand. I understand my role at PC, and I understand that someone who looks like me is going to take a little bit of jokes and shit like that, and people are going to make some jokes about it. I'm used to it. I played hoop from grade 6 all the way to grade 12. Believe me, I've been the only white kid on a I've heard every joke on the planet, and I'm very immune to it. I don't care about it. But it's one thing to say, like, y'all have whack music, y'all don't know how to dance, stuff like that I've heard. It's another thing to be literally accused of saying the N-word when you didn't. That's different to me.
No, and that is why even throughout the most heated that we've been, I've always tried to do the best at, like, hey, this has nothing to do with y'all trying to make that. Don't use that to piggyback off of it, because I can't imagine that, right? Like I wasn't around during that situation. I can't imagine that. So I can I could feel, I can understand how you feel there. And I think overall, like, you can tell that there's some tension sometimes, and maybe, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I don't know if maybe that comes out in ways that you don't always intend.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
so like that's definitely a conversation and a thing that needs to happen there.
Okay.
But yeah, like, me and your thing had nothing to do with any racist or pen slur or anything like that, and I've made sure I've never made that joke, or anybody who, even when I say something, they're like, yeah, he said that because he's racist. I'm like, the dude's not racist.
Okay.
I
want to ask you a question. I'm sorry to cut you off. Earlier today, you called me disabled.
Mm.
Now, I understand that this stems from my admission that I have Asperger's.
Mm.
I want to ask you 2 things. Obviously, we're going back and forth. I'm sure a lot of shit was said that's probably not overly felt, and that's fine. We can squash it. Do you actually feel, talking to me, that I'm disabled?
How open do you want me to get about this conversation?
I want you to be.
I don't think
I
you're
want you to be
disabled.
100%.
Disabled isn't the word that I don't think came out. If it did, that's not how. So, and this is part that I hope that we were going to have off of, but let's have it here. Fuck it. My son is on the spectrum. My son is autistic, and he's slightly on the spectrum, fully functional. But sometimes in the way that he deals with things emotionally, some of this that's come out over the last couple of days, it has reminded me of that. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose you, but it has put me in that place where it's like, again, if we had a better relationship, if I had your number, and this is, I'll take responsibility of this, because when I saw it going left, I could have easily reached out to you and said, hey, Penn, let's holler about this on the phone. But when I see certain things in the way that you process things, and it seems like from the outside looking in that you process things, the thing that I do with my son when he's in that situation, I'm like, hey, all right, what actually happened? Well, first I tell him, tell me how you feel about what happened. Then let's talk about what actually happened, and maybe I can help you calm down on this some. And I feel like in this situation, and now let's talking about it in the pen slur and everything coming out, I feel like, to me, in our interaction, it was a let me come out swinging. And me, naturally, I'm going to come out swinging back. And then afterwards, I'm going to process what the hell just happened. So, like, I feel like everything has been a complete and utter spiral. When I use that word spiral, when we kept talking about it, I was talking about like the overall situation. It just feels like it just kept spiraling. And both of us are very prideful, grown ass men, right? And when it got to a certain place, I feel like that overtook everything else in the conversation. And that's just my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong and off basis with that, but it seemed like that. I know you're a fully functioning adult man that's very intelligent. Like I even said before, while we were like, no, Penn knows basketball. Like I know you're a very hyper intelligent person, but I feel like some of those cues of things get missed. And it feels like, again, from the outside looking in, that a lot of times that fight or flight or fight or process, whatever you want to call it, the first thing is fight. And for the people who aren't in that same mindset of you, that they're just looking at it as, oh, we're joking or whatever else, it's kind of off-putting because it's like, all right, why are we fighting now? All right, bet. If we're fighting, we're fighting. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm glad you shared the part about your son being on the spectrum. That helps me understand this a little bit better. I have Asperger's. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like it is a spectrum disorder, but it is different. Here's some symptoms. I don't know how much you know about Asperger's. Do you know a lot about Asperger's?
I know a little bit, because that's what they initially thought was happening with my son. So I don't know a lot of it, but I know a little bit of it.
So sometimes I can tell you how it manifests for me, and I've very, very openly talked about this. Some people want to talk about it because a lot of people call Scotty Barnes autistic. They joke about it. They say he's never going to beat the allegations. He's TISM, whatever. It's funny, if there was social media when Michael Jordan was playing, they would have called him autistic too. They would have. Like he had like his tongue out. He was very loose. He was very childlike. He was very, jokey with his teammates. He would joke around and shit. People probably say a lot of stupid shit on the internet. Scotty runs funny. He's just in the moment. Scotty doesn't have autism at all. But as someone who does, I've always considered it a superpower, not a disability. And I make sure that every single person, every kid that I've ever met, there's so many people who've reached out to me and said, my son is autistic and I'm really worried. Can you talk to him? And I will talk to that kid and I'll be like, yo, you're going to be told your whole fucking life that you are disabled, that you are differently abled, that you're going to accomplish less. Let me tell you something. You have a superpower. You like fucking X-Men. Go use that shit. Strong verbal skills is one symptom. Obsession with the topic. Me personally, my girlfriend has no idea, but I could get so obsessed with a topic that I would literally forget to eat, drink water for like 82 hours. She don't know how I do it. Like if I get super zoned into something, and it's allowed me to become a great filmmaker. I mean, I don't want to say great filmmaker. I'm a good filmmaker. I'm not a great filmmaker. I'm a good filmmaker. I made 13 films. I can edit a fucking clip over and over and over again for like 17 hours. And my girlfriend has no idea how I can do that without a break. Why do you not need to go outside? Why do you need, I'm like, yo, I'm just zoned in. That to me is a symptom of autism, but also honing in on specific things, very specific things. Like I am very glued to the words. So if you say, for instance, if I told you, Haize, you got a dark gray shirt on, does that bother you? But if you told me that I had a navy blue hoodie on, it would drive me crazy. Like, it would absolutely cause me to crash out. And I have to work really hard to not crash out because I know I don't have a navy blue hoodie. And that's a very insignificant detail to you. But to me, that's a huge detail. Because if my hoodie is navy blue, then the world doesn't make sense to me. Make sense?
No,
So
no, completely.
if you, when you saw me kind of processing the debate results, I'm gonna say this honestly. I think I won. I watched it 4 times. I think I won. I can accept the results, but I think I won. To me, the loss just it's maybe it's the Asperger's. Maybe a normally socially functional person would just be like, whatever, you lost, whatever, it doesn't matter. But to me, as somebody who worked 5 hours prepping for that debate, I think I performed relatively well. I think I made really good points, and I think my opponent lied and disrupted, my talking point, interrupted me, lied 4 times that were provable. I wanted to make a very strong case to the judges, if they were ever going to pay attention to me, that I believe that I should have won that debate on a technicality, that my opponent lied. Shouldn't be able to lie in a debate. You know that. So that was my crash out. What you decided to do was make a video about it and say the spiral. I was very, I'm gonna say, like, when I saw that, it felt like my privacy had been invaded. But then I realized I'm the idiot who put that online, so it's on me, and I gotta own it. The fact that somebody watched it is really, like, it could happen. Why did you decide to do that?
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I was being an asshole. I'm not even gonna try to pull up. No, I saw it. I saw the video, and it literally to me was a "here goes entitled" pin again, and that's how that came off to me. Now that's before me and you have had a personal conversation, and I think initially your interaction with the guy who called into you felt like, hey, this guy's calling into you and to talk to you, and it did seem like we talked about, like it went to that, let me come out fighting, when it seemed like he really wasn't in a place of coming fighting. So it was like, here goes everything that to me at that point in time,
You already thought
it
about
brought
me.
it all together of why I felt like we were having this problem, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I mean that's 100%. It was like, look, here goes Penn doing exactly why we're having this issue. So that was an asshole ass move.
I understand that, and I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I thought it was really funny. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was hilarious. Like the way you cued the rap music to my dramatic pause, I was just like, this guy's got to be a filmmaker, because
We have
that shit is peak comedy.
more in common than what you think. I've worked on 8 documentaries and I've done 2 short films, so we have a lot more in common than you realize.
Do you? You would not believe this, but I know 8 filmmakers in Chicago. 8. It's the weirdest shit on earth. Every person I meet from Chicago is in film, and I don't understand how that keeps happening, but it just keeps. I mean, I'm in film. I guess maybe that's how it keeps happening.
The theater, people don't really talk about that part of Chicago a lot, but it's really booming here. So
It's a great city.
yeah.
It's a great city. I don't know if you know this. I'm American, and
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah. So I grew up. I never grew up in Chicago, but I always looked at it from afar, especially when the Bulls would come to town. And yeah, like it felt like one of my favorite cities in the United States. And I don't know, I always had like this affection for Chicago. And yeah, it's weird for me to have an affection for a place that I never lived, but it's one of the cities that I have an affection for that I've never lived. I don't give a shit about LA. I give a fuck about LA. I give a fuck about, most places, but Chicago is one of those cities that it's probably because of the Bulls. It's got to be because of the Bulls, just
Yeah.
because what a big Bulls fan I was. Anyways, Haize, I respect you for coming on here, squashing this. Hopefully we can have no issues going forward. I mean, if we do have issues going forward, I hope we can deal with it like this, as opposed to how we've been dealing with our issues. I would say to you that it helps to assume that the people we don't like are also crazy. It helps.
Yeah.
If I like, in general, consensus bias is real. So if I found out right now that, like, let's just say I know that you don't like me, or you felt like I don't like you, or whatever, or you have issues, and I found out that you had charges out for like some messed up shit, that might actually, like, I might even be like, yeah, that makes sense, because I don't like him, and look, he's got this weird case on him or something, or he's, doing this weird shit in this other place, or you know what I mean? It just makes sense because it kind of clues things together, and there's a consensus bias. So if people don't like you, they look for more reasons. And selectively, when you walked into that conversation, what you may not have realized, and perhaps I thinking that he was your troll from PC or something because you tagged him, maybe I didn't realize. He and I had been going back and forth in the comment section for like a good 10, 15 minutes. And anyone who was in the chat at the time can attest to that. When he came up, he told me that I get away with made up stats. And see, once again, I'm not blaming the Asperger's. I'm not crying victim, but it's like my sweatshirt is blue. These are not made up stats. You're calling them made up stats. I have a stats degree. You're telling me that I'm getting away with making made up stats. So I said he's dumb. Now, that's a very childish response. That's exactly how your son might respond to it because he's a child. And you might expect that someone who's 37 would respond to it with more decorum, more political awareness, more situational awareness, more social etiquette, right? And just be like, why do you think that? But I don't have the patience for that shit. Just don't. So, like if right now you were to say to me, the moon landing, I don't know, if you told me like Mars is not a real planet, I might call you dumb. There's a lot of verifiable proof that Mars is a real planet. That to me, it's that sweatshirt is blue thing. It just doesn't add up to me. So I wanted to explain that to you just from my perspective. I'm not trying to be an asshole calling people dumb and shit. After he went off, I literally said I was out of line. I shouldn't have done that. It went too far. I probably shouldn't have gone there. But yeah.
No, I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate the conversation. That's why I left the message. I'm like, hey, I come in peace. Let's have a conversation about it, man. And I'm glad we were able to hash it out.
And you stuck to it. I appreciate it. I hope we can have better interactions going forward. And you know what? If we do meet up at PC weekend, let's settle this over a game of one-on-one, shall we?
Yeah, that and the beer afterwards, because I'm gonna need a beer.
Because I'm gonna beat you so bad in one-on-one.
You may. We're both old, but I've had 4 children. I'm a single father, and my back hurts. So you might.
Just for my curiosity, because you made such an issue of height. Number one, how tall are you? I'm assuming you're like 6 foot.
We're like the same height. I'm like 5'10" and a half.
I was assuming with how you were talking to me that you were like 6'7", and I'm 5'11", legit 5'11", barefoot. So I just thought that was hilarious. And he's like, "You too little to stand on a." I was like, "Is this guy like 6'7"?
You look very little. You look very little.
I look very little.
You look. I mean, it's probably the camera angle. You look little.
Oh, it's because you have your camera down and I have my camera up.
Yeah.
So
that's probably what it is.
You know what's funny? When I started the content game, I was off my laptop and the camera was up at me. And this as a filmmaker, when you frame somebody up, they look more powerful.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of podcasters frame like right here. I frame right here because I'm lazy as fuck and my monitor is high. So a lot of people assume I'm very small. I promise I'm not that small. Yeah. I'm like a little bit shorter than Fred VanVleet. Yeah. All right, man. We're going to play one-on-one. We're going to have a beer. Enjoy your night. Thanks for calling in. I know this took some time off your clock, so I appreciate you doing that. And if you, I don't know, this might be a little bit stupid from my perspective, and probably a lot of people are going to troll me for saying this. But can you tell, like, if you don't mind, just share this with your son from me?
Absolutely. 100%.
Please. What is your son's name?
My youngest son, his name's Cordero Jr. We call him Alan.
Alan?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I please say this to Alan? Alan, you are going to go through life with a lot of people who are going to tell you to expect less of yourself, expect more anyway. You have a fucking superpower. Shit, he's 5 years old. I just swore. My bad. Re-hit that. You have a superpower, Alan. You do. You have a superpower. And I hope that you can reiterate that message for him, because he's going to have a lot of people in his life who are going to try to dismiss that and tell him that he's, the R word and that he's weird. And it can really fuck you up, because the self-looking glass is a real thing. When people start to look at you a certain way and they expect less from you, you start to expect less from yourself. And I'm not trying to be Tony Robbins up here, but a lot of people had to have really deep conversations with me about not to give into that noise when I was growing up. And I am very successful today because I listened to them. So I really hope that you are, and you know, you seem like a really sensible person. It's kind of weird that we had so many issues, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's what heated things happen, man, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta go do Locked On NBA anyway with Swiper actually. So I will see you around, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Have a good one. Alrighty. Nah, Pen, you give 5'6" ICL. What's ICL? My girlfriend's like 5'7", so I'm shorter than my girl. Cool. Nice conversation. Yeah, it was good. It's good to squash it, man. It's good. I'm not a violent person necessarily, so I say necessarily because I've been in a lot of fights in my life for a non-violent person. We can get back to basketball. We can get back to the Raptors. We can get back to the draft. Armand saying that was enjoyable. You know what? W to you. You know why? Because a lot of people wanted me to scream and be disrespectful, or maybe you want them to be, screaming and disrespectful. And really, that's just not going to solve anything. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Give me 1 sec here. What I'm going to do is I am going to Haize on Ox Court right now frying you. That's cool. That's his business. That's not my business. If he goes on Ox Court and fries me, that's cool. I don't care. Okay. So I'm going to take a 1-minute break and I'm going to be back. I need water. I need to breathe. This room is super hot and I am like feeling it. I need some air. Give me 1 minute. If you would like to call in, line up in the queue. We can talk about this. We'll talk about this game a little bit more. Leslie saying, will we talk draft or NCAA Women Final Four? Leslie, it pains my heart. As you may know, Paige Beckers is literally my favorite player in all of college basketball. It pains my heart to say I did not watch UConn whoop ass, but I noticed that they were up 15, and I'm like, Paige and Sarah Strong got this. Gino Auriemma is not blowing a 15-point lead. So I did not watch that game. We can definitely talk about the Final Four tomorrow. We can definitely talk about the draft. Jamal saying, facts. Yo, man, I'm going to say this. Let me just say this before I get out of here from my water break. We need to remind men, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any other gender or whatever gender you are. We need to remind men to be men. Men do not sneak this. Men do not scream and holler necessarily unless it is necessitated. Men do not lie. Okay. Men do not beat women and all that shit. Men protect women. Men protect their children. Men protect their home. Men stand on business. Men stand up for what they believe in, and men handle things like that. I'm just keep it a buck. Thank you to Haize and to Domo for coming here and very, very much keeping it very respectful. I do not believe that conversation that I had with Haize and Domo could have necessarily been had with Gifted. I just think that I would have cracked at some point, and I don't think that I would have done well in that situation. But, cool. And, shout outs to Ox. You're having Ox Court. I didn't realize Ox Court, but, it's back. That's cool. And when are you going on Big Ox's show? Why should I go over there? I haven't given him enough content with the low beef. I haven't given him enough content. I wasn't there in the chat being the person that everybody hated, saying, hey, spam Ox some super chats. I was trying to help a content creator out, man. You don't think I understood? I'm a pretty smart dude. You don't think I understood that I was the butt of the joke, that I was being used? I didn't receive a dime for my time on that one. I went on Ox's Court not to solve shit with Low or to own Low. I went on it because it was good content for a person that I thought was my friend, that today I was told is not my friend. So if we're not friends, I don't need to support you. That's cool. I'm sure he has my number. He can message me. Instead, you're going to go do a live. That's cool. Keep that same energy when we're on the panel next time. Swiper, you sharing that clip kinda just rubbed me the wrong way. So it's cool. It is what it is, man. Okay. All I'm gonna say is do not call people for do not be disparaging towards people who solve things in a peaceful way. I've grown up in a lot of violent places, a lot of violent neighborhoods, and trust me, whenever someone was trying to make peace, there was always 25 people telling them that they're soft and that they needed to go shoot up the neighborhood. That's not cool. That's not cool. You're not cool because you got to flex and, you want to fight and shit. The coolest thing in the world is actually to be able to solve your issues without spazzing, without crashing out. Unfortunately, we have a lot of chat members, not you guys, but a lot of chat members on PC who just want to see people crash out. They want to see Chill crash out. They want to see me crash out. They want to see everybody crashing out because it's funny to them. But that's instigation. It's stupid and it's not good for your soul. Cool. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to towel off. I'm going to get some water and then we're going to talk draft. If you want to call in, please call in. Coach Mo, if you listen to this, I am very, very sorry, my man, that you called in and we're not given a space to speak. I didn't realize that I was, you know, I honestly, you had the floor. You could have interrupted at any point. I respect the fact that you didn't, but I apologize that if that wasted your time, that's not cool. Anyways, I'm gonna get some water. I'm gonna be back in 1 minute. Hello, hello, hello. I probably took a lot longer than a minute. I apologize for that. So dudes look at computer screen, look at stats, and think they know basketball on there. There are some people who do that. We do have a few super chats I would like to read out. J Pow said, Rob, fuck these PC trolls. Shout out to Kobe. My rook was cooking tonight on both ends. Future. Honestly, man, this the vision is so bright for Jacoby. Hang on one sec. Let me show you this. I believe I posted this. I'm gonna have to mute it. But to anyone who didn't watch the game tonight, look at this. This is just the offense. That shooting form, I mean, I'll remind you, he dealt with a shoulder injury earlier. That was Jamal Shed, my bad. Kobe. Boom. Again. It was great, man. He was great tonight. It's fantastic. And again, I really care. I'm like one of those people. I kept this energy with Scotty. Oh, we got Coach Mo back. Coach Mo, what up?
Hey man, I figured I should just leave. You guys had your own thing going on, so there was no point in me being there. But
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So I have some questions about next year
Go ahead.
and your thoughts on some stuff. So one of them is okay. The young guys, the developing guys, right? So we have Walter, we have Mogbo, we have Shed, we have Grady, we have Shamshay, we have Battle, and we have the 25 lotto pick. Okay, that's 7 people. I'm not including Ochai because the way Ochai started the season when the games mattered, I don't include him in that group. He kind of was in that group to start the year, right? So, if you want to be competitive next year, how many of those 7, including the 25 lotto pick that I mentioned, how many of those 7 can you realistically play?
Okay, say the names again.
Walter, Mogbo, Shed, Grady, Shamshay, Battle, and 25 lotto.
Isn't that 6? Am I stupid? Sorry. Walter, Mobo,
Shed,
Shed,
Grady,
Grady,
Shamshay,
Bad, Shamshi.
Battle, and 25 lotto.
Okay. Can we include the 2025 second round pick as well?
Okay, that's 8.
Okay.
And you want to be
I'm
good.
assuming 4.
Who are those 4?
Not Shamshi.
Mm-hmm.
Not the second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not Mobo.
Okay.
And Orich. Wait, I already said that. I don't know.
You can't play 5, 6 of these guys and want to win or want to be competitive, Have that Detroit turnaround. It's too many.
Well, Detroit had a lot of young players, granted not rookies, but I mean they have Asar Thompson. He's a young player who's playing. Jaden Ivey. He's a young player who's playing.
Those are high-end lottos. Those are high-end lottos.
So what's the 7th overall pick?
I'm not talking about that, but I'm saying we just hypothetically talked about 8 people.
Mm-hmm. And are you counting Ochai out of the rotation?
No, I'm not including Ochai in this group, in this
because
batch.
you think he's a lock for the rotation.
He's graduated from this group. For me, after this season.
I think Grady and Jacoby are higher in the pecking order than Ochai. In terms of,
but I think
I'm not saying that as they're better players. I'm saying they're higher in the franchise's prioritization.
I agree, but I would also say if you wanted to win right now, if you wanted to be competitive right now, if we were going into a play-in situation and BI was playing, Ochai gets more minutes.
Maybe
he's more ready to win, especially over Grady.
I could see that. I think this team is always going to keep one hand on the development jar. So, like for instance, let's say we were going to the play-in next year, or let's say we're going to the playoffs next year, and let's just say that. Wait, Jameson Battle got to play, man.
There needs to be a consolidation trade, like you talked about. It's just too many. All these guys aren't going to work out, and if they do, you can't pay all these players. You can't play all these players.
Yeah, but you can see how having a lot of depth actually reduces your total. Okay, like I'll put it this way. Let's say you have like Ochai Baji right now, right? He's not playing a ton of minutes. But if he was playing a ton of minutes, his numbers would look a lot better. Therefore, his contract and like his agent would be like, yo, we have a 14-point per game guy who's like locking down on defense and grabbing 7 rebounds a game and protecting the rim. You need to give us 18 million. Whereas right now he's coming off the bench, he's developing, he's occasionally starting. Like you might lock up Ochai for like 4 years, 32 million.
No, Ochai's price just dropped from where it was in the beginning of the year.
I think you have to understand that this is also a Masai guy. He's known his family forever. They believe in him a lot. He's also an ex-lottery pick. He's shooting over 40% from 3, or at least was shooting over 40% from 3 for a very long period of time. He's a really competent defender, and the league like mid-level exceptions almost 14 million. You're paying 8 million as a friggin' drop in the hat. That's not a bad deal.
No, it's
I mean, it's a bad deal when you compare it to Denny Avdia and friggin' Austin Reeves, but it won't be a bad deal in a few years. He's young.
Those players are better than him. Those players are better than him.
Okay, bro, we paid Thaddeus Young $8 million. Like you know this team be crazy when it comes to contracts.
IQ's contract.
If IQ is worth 32 million, Ochai is worth 15 million. Is that a fair assessment?
That's more than fair. That's more than fair.
Okay, so getting him at 8 would be like the craziest fucking thing ever.
But if everyone goes to the table saying IQ got this, we're fucked.
Well, that's the problem. Like that is the problem. But there's two good things working for the Raptors. Number one is most of your young players are not putting up crazy stats. The second thing I'll say that's working for us is that we are capped out.
And this is the problem with the IQ contract. Because at some point, it all starts to add up. Because, RJ's extension, right? Because RJ is going to come up soon.
Mm-hmm.
You have Scott.
And then what do we say? We say we can't go into luxury tax. Sorry, RJ. We're not going into the apron for you. This is how much money we have. Do you realize these apron restrictions are basically fucking the players over in the worst way possible?
Did we know about the apron restrictions when we gave IQ the contract?
Yes.
Again, mind-blowing.
From their perspective, because it's a flat deal, they don't think that there's a huge downside on that contract. And if Emmanuel Quickley actually learns how to play point guard properly at the NBA level with his shooting, it might actually be a neutral contract. Okay. It's always going to be a slight overpay, but you understand that every Raptor gets slightly overpaid. Kyle Lowry got overpaid. Like, let's be honest. He exceeded the value of the contract, but almost every contract we've ever signed, we've fallen ass backwards into. My perspective on this is when we signed Fred VanVleet to that $18 million a year deal, it felt like an overpay. Now, he became like a $25 million player for us, so it didn't feel like an overpay for long, but the Raptors have been doing this for a while. The Gary Trent Jr. contract aged like milk. We signed him to $18 million thinking he was going to become another, $25 million a year guy, and he became a $5 million a year guy. So that's kind of like the thing. Like, so I think they're just betting on Emmanuel Quickley growing into that contract. Okay. And I think his presence on the court, like his performance on the court and his presence in the locker room are so different. Like, crazy. I feel like from people that I've heard from close to the team, it's like his team can't stop raving about him. Like, they love him. He's a great leader. He keeps everyone together. He keeps everyone light. Apparently, he's a huge reason why their team chemistry is so great. He's really chill with Scotty. And when BI comes into the fold and he has fewer reps with the basketball and he has more space to work with, I'm assuming that he's going to fall right back into line.
So next year, let's say we play Walter, Shed, Grady, Battle, and some Mogul, right? So and the lotto pick. That's a lot. I don't think they're all going to play. Our G League team is going to be really good. But do you still think they will do? Because it's one thing to play the young guys. It's another thing to ask Scotty or IQ or Grady to do things that they're not necessarily strong at. Do you envision us still doing certain things, like trying to force IQ to be a point guard, or do we now start playing him more off ball? And the moments he's on ball, he has some reps, so he's not completely lost. You dip your toe in what you were practicing. We're not just doing it like we were this year. You know what I'm trying to say? Like all this entire year, you either swim or drown. We're going to try. And when you're in those moments next year, at least it's not foreign to you. Instead of continuing to try these reps, go all the way to the basket IQ. Whereas next year it's okay. In the moments where you go to the rim, you've been trying it all last year. So there's some comfortability. But now, you can do your floater thing again if you want. Like, are we trying to win next year, or are we still doing this?
I think this
and then
year,
slap BI on it.
I think this year was completely about preparing players for next year, but also evaluating players for next year. Like you get a lot of sense of who Emmanuel quickly can be as a floor raiser for certain units. Because again, like we think about basketball like in the sense of like who we're playing versus who we're playing, but really basketball is won with lineups. Like at some point, the lineup we saw tonight of Emmanuel Quickly, Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo, Jakob Pertl, and Jamison Battle replace Jamison Battle with Con Knipple, that could be a lineup that we use next year. Having data on how that lineup plays, having film on how that lineup plays helps. It helps to see how Detroit reacted to that lineup, which lineups give certain teams trouble, and even like if you're putting together an off-season plan for Emmanuel Quickly on what he needs to do to get better, like it just helps to understand how he plays with Jonathan Mobo. The same thing with Scotty. Like they run a lot of Scotty IQ minutes together. You notice sometimes they go off the floor together, on the floor together, off the floor. It's just about building chemistry for next year because you never know when Scotty and Emmanuel Quickly are going to have to elevate a bench unit together, or when Scotty and RJ are going to have to elevate a bench unit together. So it's just about getting reps right now. And obviously, like you're asking people to do things that are a little uncomfortable for them, like Emmanuel Quickly with all the initiation stuff and the, float finishing and, maybe a lot of self creation. But if you just limited him to like more optimally distanced catch and shoot looks, I think he would do a lot better. But he's doing a lot of self generation right now, which has never really been his game.
And
you want it, but you want it to become his game. That's the important thing. And if it can't be his game, you'd rather find that out in a season when you're losing, as opposed to finding that out in a season where you desperately are banking on it. Because it's like, this year has been a great test. It's been a great test to see what players can do. I now know that Scotty Barnes can literally anchor a defense, like a top 5 defense. I know that he can do that. With competent pieces, he can do that. With everyone bought in and locked in, he can do that. Even with subpar defenders like rookies and Emmanuel Quickly, he can still elevate a defense that much. That helps me. That helps me understand how that fits into my next year thing. And I also understand what he can't do. Like he can't be a high volume pull up 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have data from last year which shows that he can be a really high efficiency catch and shoot 3-point shooter from the corners. So now that might go into my game plan in terms of how I construct lineups and game plans and blueprints for how to beat certain teams with Brandon Ingram and how I might want to use these players. Like I personally feel like Darko Rajakovic, as innovative and as intelligent as he is, I think his brain is just dancing at the concept of loading up the strong side with Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, and then having RJ Barrett destroy the weak side, and having Emmanuel Quickly and Jakob Pertl provide space for that. Like I think his mind is just dancing at the idea of that, and it should be.
But
it's a very, very potent starting 5.
With the Scotty spot up shooting, I think that was contingent on him not being the overwhelming best defender and tasked with so much on that end.
I would like to see his workload go down big time for sure.
Yeah, like one of my things, I think you were talking about it like a week ago or something. For us to be competitive next year, he can't, like the next best defender after him. It can't be that massive of a gap. Like it can't be him, and then the next best defender is a guy with potential, but is like a rookie or second year player.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be somebody close. Like OKC is the best example. It's like it's hard to pinpoint who's the best defender on that team on a nightly basis.
OKC?
Yeah.
It's Chet or Alex Caruso or Jalen Williams. You're right. Sometimes it is hard.
Whereas our team might be the easiest team to say who's the best defender. Like the next guy.
But if we legitimately got Kaman Malawach, damn, bro, we would be so big. Like we might be one of the biggest teams in the world. Like we might be one of the biggest teams in the league. Come on, in the middle. It's 7'2". Standing reach is higher than Wemby.
So
absurd.
With IQ getting the money he got, and RJ coming up soon for a new contract or an extension, it almost feels like either RJ is going to have to take a serious discount or what he thinks is a discount,
Mhm.
or one of them has to go. And a lot of people prior to the start of this season were like, RJ got to go.
Mhm.
And as this season played out, I don't think a lot of people are saying RJ got to go, which is crazy because you remember that press conference. It was IQ and Scotty.
Yeah, the
It
future
was
starts
IQ
now.
and Scotty.
The future
And
starts now. Yep.
there's no way you can tell me IQ's better than RJ this year. There's no way. And
There's
and
no
RJ's
way.
younger, and RJ's younger. And I personally believe RJ's more versatile, which is crazy to say, because RJ's more of a point guard than IQ, which is I can't believe I'm saying that.
It is crazy to say. And yet it is true. And he's also dialing it up more on defense, which is also crazy to say given how their reputations came in.
Maroon Prince said Quickly is still the better player.
Well, Basketball Reference agrees with Maroon Prince, at least in terms of efficiency. Basketball Reference has Emmanuel Quickley with a 2.3 box plus minus, RJ Barrett with a 0.7, and is largely due to what Basketball Reference probably terms as valuable. Now, if you compare their stats across what really peaks out as in favor of Emmanuel Quickley, if we look at per 100 and we look at just the raw analytics of it, he is a much better free throw shooter. 64% versus 87%.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Mhm.
He is a much higher volume 3-point shooter. Almost 12 a game versus 8 per 100 possessions again. So the rate of 3-point shots is much higher. And I think Emmanuel Quickley will get higher than that. The field goal attempts. So he's doing his, so they're both scoring almost 30 points, right? So IQ is at 30 per 100 possessions and RJ is at 31.7, which is ridiculous when you think about it, because you would think there is a much bigger gap than that, but they're almost identical. The difference is RJ is doing that on 8 attempts per 100 possessions and 25 from the line, plus 2 extra field goal attempts. So the efficiency argument is actually, believe it or not, in favor of IQ because of the 3-point shooting. And that true shooting percentage reflects as IQ 57.5 versus RJ 55.2. The usage argument is also in favor of Quickley. He's able to do this on 4% lower usage. So again, sum total, yes, aesthetically, RJ has been the better player. But when you think about it in terms of next to Scotty and Ingram,
So
it's possible that IQ could be the better player.
okay, so hypothetically, that's my next question. Hypothetically, next year, from what you've seen this year, and I guess some projection, who's the better third banana to you for Scotty and BI next year? If you had to choose one third banana, IQ or RJ? One got to go.
Jacoby. Jacoby's my third banana. If one of them had to go, I don't feel like one of them has to go, but if one of them had to go, I know I want to lean towards Emmanuel Quickley going, but I just, because it's just like he's younger, he's bigger, RJ's bigger, he's younger, and he's cheaper, and he's the homegrown talent. But basketball, like, just he makes a lot of mistakes too, man. He makes a lot of mistakes in the pick and roll. He makes a ton of, he has a lot of issues at the line.
Yeah.
Doesn't provide anywhere close to the spacing. Like, you got to also consider one of these guys is a 38% 3-point shooter, and he's being hunted at the line. The other guy is a 35% 3-point shooter, and almost all his shots are fucking catch and shoots.
Yes.
The difficulty and the range of difficulty in their shot diet is not the same. How they are guarded is totally different. RJ's blessing is that ability to verve to the rim, but it is very one directional. It is a very one directional and one dimensional thing, and he doesn't do too well at it. For a
Okay.
player who attacks the rim as well as he does, he shoots abysmally.
Now, being one dimensional, does it matter as much when you're no longer the second option and now you're third?
It matters a lot to me because when you think of like the greatest third options in the league, and this is so funny because it fucking was my PCL debate, and I was debating Chet, and my opponent chose Austin Reeves. Notice the one thing: both of those players are better 3-point shooters than RJ Barrett. I think that 3-point shot is a really big deal when you're playing next to two mid-post guys. Like Scotty's not going to be able to provide the space that Emmanuel Quickley is going to be able to provide at any point, and neither is RJ. So Brandon Ingram has shown like this crazy potential to be like a great shooter. So I feel like BI could really fan out. And the difference between BI versus Scotty and RJ, right? If you consider all these guys like high lottery picks, which is pretty cool. When you consider how we built our championship team with all these like second round, late first round guys, no lottery picks. Yo, we are loaded on lottery talent, huh? We are loaded on those high school prep legends. RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes on the same team. My God,
I
damn.
agree. I have one caveat. I actually think the answer is IQ.
To
But
stay or leave?
if as the third banana to
Why?
help IQ and to help Scotty and BI. With a caveat. We gotta stop the quasi point guard stuff. If he just goes, I'm off ball the majority of the time, because let's be real, if we want to be good next year, there should be two players who are should be holding the ball for more than like 2 seconds. There should be only two players that hold the ball and survey for more than 2 seconds consistently if they do it, and that's Scotty and BI.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else should get off the fucking ball as fast as possible. This IQ dribble stuff, bro, it's done. We tried it this year. It's done. Bro,
Can I interrupt this?
You're 25.
Can I interrupt this very well-meaning basketball talk for a comedy session?
Sure.
Of 1 minute. I want to ask you what you feel about this. Okay, he's talking about Luka Doncic. You're a shoot it from the hip, straight as they come person. I just wanted to ask you, what do you think of this person saying what he says about Luka Doncic?
If Curry torching him, my God, what Shea gonna do to him? Shea gonna bend that fat ass over and keep stroking all night long. And won't stop till he get enough.
Okay. Yeah, that was a bit excessive, but my response would be Shea does that to everybody. So what does it matter? He averages what, 34 points a game on ridiculous efficiency. He's going to win league MVP. He scored on Luka. Okay. He'd roast Alex Caruso on his own team in practice. So what's his point? That's like saying Jackson Haize can't guard. The Lakers are screwed. Jackson Haize is going to guard Jokic. I mean,
you don't see the irony.
He was destroying AD. Who cares?
Bro,
AD was getting roasted.
You don't see the irony of this? Him calling Luka fat and saying he's gonna roast his fat ass. This shit, yo, I want to know who the fuck that Mavericks general manager and ownership group hired to publicly humiliate Luka Doncic. This bullshit report that he was 170 pounds. Like, yo, the damage control from Nico Harrison be crazy.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the Lakers, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that guy, but there's something interesting about the standings in the West. So as it stands right now, it's Lakers versus Warriors. Who you got? 4-5. Warriors been killing it. They've technically been the best team in the league since the trade deadline.
You know, Luka and LeBron are gonna have the craziest fucking whistle in NBA history, right?
I'm asking you who.
I'm telling you, as a person who was alive to see Kobe Bean Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal steamroll what was my favorite team in the league at the time, the Sacramento Kings, I mean, apart from the Raptors, because they had Peja Stojakovic and Vlade Divac. And I watched my I'm gonna say my Sacramento Kings. I watched my favorite team there, Sacramento Kings, beat the Lakers and still lose every game. This is the La La Land effect, man. They're gonna have the favorable whistle. I gotta say, I'm gonna give the advantage to the Lakers. If I was betting, I'm not a sports bettor, you know that. If I was betting, I wouldn't bet on the Warriors.
Well, I spoke too soon. It's now Nuggets 4-5. The Nuggets have lost 3 in a row.
Oh
So
Lord,
now Nuggets Warriors 4-5. Who you got there?
Nuggets lost tonight.
Nuggets lost.
To
They
who?
lost 3 in a row. They lost 3 in a row.
Who the hell did they lose to? To the Warriors? They didn't play
No.
the Warriors tonight.
They lost. They did lose to the Warriors. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
is
that was a
effective.
double. That was a double victory, bro. The Warriors are 1 game from third to catch the Lakers. They're a game back of third place.
Mhm.
The Lakers would face the Timberwolves 3-6. Here's the crazy one. 2-7 is Rockets Clippers, bro. The West is gonna be crazy. Who you got? Rockets Clippers.
Yeah, the Rockets just packed up the OKC Thunder. We were on playback today.
They
And I saw
really
that,
did.
and I
They
could
really
not
did.
believe what I was watching. I kept waiting for that OKC comeback, and it never came. It never fucking came. Disheartening. Damn, and it wasn't even close, huh? Like the Warriors packed them up. 118, 104.
Bro, let me tell you something. How crazy the West is. The only series that is a guarantee to not matter is the 1-8, because right now it's Thunder Grizzlies.
Right.
That's night. That's a sweep. But 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, those all can go 7. All those are
Right.
probably going to go 7. It's crazy.
It is nuts.
The West is must-see TV. The East, though, hey.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Pistons in the playoffs. If Cade's healthy, that could be really fun. It's a really fun team to root for.
And it's looking like it's going to be Pacers Pistons. I actually want Pacers Pistons. I don't want Pistons Knicks, because I don't think I don't want Knicks Pistons, because I don't think if it's 3-6, because I don't think the Pistons are going to beat the Knicks. I don't think that's going to happen. I think for a young team like Cade and and the young guys on that team, I think MSG is just too big for them.
Would you give Orlando a chance against the Cavs?
No, I don't. I just don't think their offense is good enough. And without Suggs, I don't see it happening. And the way Mobley and Jared Allen literally got bullied. They got punked 2 years ago, right? They got punked. I just don't think that's going to happen this year.
You've been watching March Madness? Not to jump around topics, but I'm just curious.
No, not much. I'm going to watch this Saturday, though, tomorrow or tonight.
It's today. That's
Yeah,
the craziest shit. It's today. I'm very excited. Houston versus Duke. I am looking forward to Cooper Flag putting his, stamp on this tournament. Like, there's history on the line, when you play for Duke and you're on this really great team and you're in the Final Four, these performances have to matter. And he strikes me as a person who has a very keen sense of basketball history and basketball legacy. Like, I feel like he could just come out and just deliver one of those Herculean 6 blocks, 4 steals, 26 points, 12 rebounds. Like, I want him to go nuts tomorrow. Like, I want him to leave no doubt. Because the other day we were on the panel, we were having a debate. It was not really a debate. It was a question that came up between Carmelo Anthony at Syracuse versus Cooper Flag. And of course, nostalgic me went Q's Melo, because it was like, love Q's Melo, one of my favorite players. And I watched that entire tournament. Hakeem Warwick, McNamara, like, that was a cool team. It's hard for me to accept this, but Cooper Flag is better than Carmelo Anthony as a college prospect. And Carmelo Anthony was damn good. So this guy must be really good, because he's also younger than Carmelo was at the same time. So It's just nuts. Like what this guy's doing is insane. It's just really crazy.
No, I agree. I agree. Hopefully, we get a decent pick. The our pipe dream of the Sixers not getting their pick, that's probably not going to happen. They're going to keep their pick. I just I I just want to say, you've talked about it before, and other people have. The tanking shit is getting out of hand, bro. They either have to shorten the amount of games, because when you watch the schedule and you're like, what kind of games do I want to watch? There are so many instances of teams that aren't tanking versus teams that are tanking, and it's like the amount of watchable games is almost halved after like March, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just tank offs. What the Sixers are doing is it's disgusting. Why is Maxi not playing? What's wrong with Maxi?
I don't remember. I think it was a finger or something.
Okay. What the Jazz are doing should be finable. The Jazz shouldn't even get a lottery pick from the shit they're pulling. I swear to God, it's disgusting.
They really shouldn't. The Jazz and the Sixers have been the most flagrant tanking teams in the league.
Disgusting. Flagrant.
Ridiculous. There's no decorum. There's no, like, the Utah Jazz could literally be up 15 points with 8 minutes to go, and I'm like 100% they're losing this game. Right? 100%. So now you have to think about it, and you're like, how can you do that as a coach? How can you do that with your players without letting your players know that you're doing that? Because Darko Rakovic has never gone up to the players and said, I need you to throw this game. It's never happened. Not once. From what I heard. It's never happened. Never gone up to the Masai Ujiri's never gone up to the players and said, hey, Scotty Barnes, I need you to lose this next game. It's a really important game for the tank. It's never happened. They're literally constructing game plans each game to try and lose games, and then going out and trying to win them anyway. And I don't think, if you're blowing 15-point leads on the regular with 4 or 5 minutes to go, I don't think you're doing that. I think you're literally going up to your guys and saying, let's get some fucking turnovers. Kendrick saying every gambler knows to stay away from the Jazz. I'm not a gambler, but if I was a gambler, I would literally bet on the other team every time the Jazz go up 15. Like, it would be the easiest money in the history of the world. Anyways, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to a good day of hoops. It was a very, very dramatic, unnecessarily dramatic, 24 hours. It felt very unnecessary and stupid. I'm glad it came to a peaceful resolution. I really, I don't know. I talked to my girlfriend today, and she's still in San Francisco, and we were talking about, this drama, and she's just like, you're like, what the hell? This is your passion. Like, you wanted to do this. Like, why are we having so much unnecessary bullshit come into it? And it is really a dream. Like, to be able to talk basketball and make money off of it, it's actually a huge dream. So
have you always been like, if you grew up in certain neighborhoods, like the guy you spoke to the other day, where he's like trolling you or being passive aggressive, or he's like, oh, your pussy hurts. Like, those are just guys you run into in school and stuff. Like, they're trolls, and they escalate situations to entertain themselves. They're not really serious. You never really got along with people like that.
No. So
they're around though, and I know you've encountered them. They're everywhere. They almost walk around and entertain themselves because they're bored.
It's so funny that someone could say your pussy hurts and then act like the victim in that situation because I called them dumb. The funniest thing is, like, the way I grew up, calling someone out for being wild, dumb, stupid, shit, whatever, that didn't get you canceled. That wasn't a cancelable offense. You can go up to your boy, and you can go up to your friend and be like, nah, that was stupid, that was fucked up, that was dumb, that was, you're acting like an idiot right now. You could say those things. I don't know why, when it became completely unacceptable to say that to people, especially when you're in the context where, like, we're talking basketball here. Like, I never put up a banner saying this is going to be the most politically correct entertainment space on the fucking planet. I'll never understand. Some people come at me and be like, why you swear so much? And I'm like, I know this may not be an accurate projection of what I'm going to say, but here's how I see this. This is like my living room, and I open a camera and just invite people in, and we have, a moment to chat and communicate. And my only promise here is that I'm going to be honest. That's it. I don't promise that I'm going to be on my best behavior. I don't promise that I'm going to, not swear. So to me, calling someone stupid or dumb, while definitely if it's uncalled for, ridiculous, that's rude, I also think it's very tame, personally. The passive aggressive shit though. I grew up with people where if that was your energy towards them, you had a really big problem with those people.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. The thing that always I didn't understand was the people that got in the most, like, you have friends who they're jokesters, they're like,
Sure.
they swear or whatever, and they're very abrasive, but it doesn't matter to you because you grew up with them or you know them or they're a family member or whatever. So it's whatever to you. The difference is when I don't know you, now I think it's hostile. I don't know you. Why are you coming at me with some sort of familiarity? So the way you would address somebody you do not know would be different than the way you address. Like if your
Facts. No, I
close
get that.
friend
I
said
get that.
you're dumb, you're being stupid, you're an idiot. That is going to be taken differently than I don't know you. Who are you? You just called in. What are we doing here?
I get
And
that.
that's not being sensitive. It's I don't know you.
No, for sure. And here's the thing. I don't think I just don't deal well with people doing the sneak this stuff. Like if you're gonna if you're gonna come onto the chat and act like I didn't say anything to you, why are you saying something to me and play victim, that to me is like really weird because now you're farming for a reaction because you clearly know that you're gonna get a reaction. If you tell me that per 100 stats are made up and you're gonna cut me off and you're gonna say I make up stats all the time and you're gonna like, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna be one track minded and yeah, it's probably gonna cause me to crash out. But like, like I tried to exit that call sooner. I tried to be like, hey, I just don't think that we have a means of communicating. And then he's just like, because I'm dumb, right? Like
Yeah, he just took it up
he
a
just
notch.
he wanted to go further and further and further until I said something that I would really regret. And then, I looked at that clip that Haize cut up and I was like, damn, I look like really bad here, for sure. But at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm okay with this. Like, I'm okay with this. It makes me look like a complete asshole and a total crash out. But I looked at it and I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's edited and, it's very creatively edited. But I did say all of those things. And if I did say them, then I should be okay with someone posting about it because I put it on the internet. And that's what comes with it. So, I can't cry about it. I was a little peeved if someone that I thought was my friend would share it. That would throw me off a little bit. But other than that, it's like it is what it is. But I'll tell you, like, if I had gone up to one of those people, in where I was growing up, like one of the people that I respected, admired, but maybe even feared a little bit, people who were serious about life, serious about reaction, serious about handling business, if you fucked up too much. If I started going up to them and being like, your pussy hurts, dude, I'd get shot.
Mhm.
Like straight up. It would be like you would have problems for the rest of your life. Like you just don't get to disrespect someone like that.
No,
You know,
and for guys like that, the only people that can say that to them, you can count on less than one hand.
100%. Their
It's
mom,
people that they
their
grew up
mom,
with
their
from.
dad, their sister, and their
That's
best
it.
friend. That's
That
it.
is it.
Yeah, I
Everybody
get
else,
that.
it's going down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I've never ducked from it. Like when I was younger, I remember I think it was like grade 6 or grade 7, and I had this issue with this one guy, and I'm thinking I think his name was I think it was I think it was people used to call him Moody. I think his last name was Moody or his first name was Moody. Anyways, I had this annoying tendency because I don't like him to always call him Moody. So stupidly childish, right? And apparently didn't know that his brother, his older brother, was very, very deeply connected um, with like gangs and shit. Like I didn't know that. And one day I skipped school to go play basketball because I had a basketball tournament, and someone said that I was very lucky that I skipped school that day because two cars pulled up and people were like strapped and loaded, and they were just asking about me, and they were asking like, "Where is this motherfucker? Where is this motherfucker? We're gonna shoot him." So yeah, my mouth has gotten me into a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
And you know what I said the next day to that kid when I found out? Moody.
They never came back for you?
No, they didn't. It's just so stupid. Like I was just always like that. Like I'm not like someone who is gonna. And I mean, I fully accepted it. I accepted that at some point my relentless chatter and like that there's like I've had so many cases on a basketball court where this guy's talking shit to me because I'm like the only white guy on my team, and I'm just like, nah, I ain't gonna take that. And you start calling him a bitch and shit, and like he's just straight up saying to me like, see me outside, you better fucking walk. He's like, you better walk on a cloud home because I'm gonna shoot you like when you get out of this fucking gym right now, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't deter me because like I don't know. It was pride, it was ego, it was definitely ego, it was a lot of hubris, probably cockiness, this feeling of like I'm not gonna back down from anybody.
I always,
Maybe
I never
maybe it was
understood.
growing up poor, maybe it was growing up poor and always feeling like you had to scrap for everything, and everybody's always telling you you're poor and you're never gonna amount to anything. You're always gonna be in government housing, you're always gonna be in the projects, and you get all these people looking down on you, and you're just like, okay, cool. But one thing I will say is like, when I was living in government housing, like when we were moving around from place to place and we had all these termination notice, eviction notice, 2-week notice, third final notice. Like you get real used to fucking notices when you're broke. And the craziest shit is that I used to pray for those days to end. I used to like dream of the day where we would have a house and my mom and I can get out of the projects and not be constantly worried about walking out at night and that someone's going to come run up on me and not have to think about, shit, there's a fucking car coming around the corner. What does that mean? That car's slowing down. I'm going to get killed right now. Who did I fucking piss off? To just get out of that, you always wanted to get out of that. But then now I realize that I was really blessed to grow up that way. I was very blessed because it taught me so much. Like it taught me about people, it taught me about values, it taught me about a lot of shit, man. It's a lot of shit that you probably wouldn't get. It taught me about struggle. It taught me about how to handle stuff. It taught me how to handle adversity. It taught me how to live with less. It taught me not to be afraid. Like I've actually gone to a fridge and have my mom tell me one more day. And that's the shit you got. Like you got salami, you got cheese, you got bread. That's your dinner. I remember sitting with my mom at a fucking McDonald's when we were in between shelters, and we had to spend all night at a food court. And we spent like she spent her like last $5 to get me a burger. Like it's stuff like this that once you've been through that, then you meet people who've never been through that, you feel like you're 10 feet tall. Like you really feel like you haven't been through shit. And I got further than you. Like with all the obstacles I had, that's like self-confidence. Like to me, that's like that unfuckwithableness that you stand on business everywhere and there's nothing like that comes at you. Like so that's to me, that's the confidence. Like I didn't work for a film festival before we started Penn Dance. But to me, it was like, what the fuck is a film festival? It's nothing. Look at what I've had to conquer throughout my life. A film festival is nothing. PENSARE Basketball. It's like, yeah, like I remember the dudes over at that other channel, you know which channel I'm talking about, that wanted to hire me for not paying me very much. They were just like, oh, it'll be years before you make any real money. If you come over here, we can pay you this. And I was just like, it's a fucking basketball channel. I could do this. Like it just kind of arms you with this like relentless, like I can do whatever, And at some point it's probably gonna get you shot, because you can't do whatever. Like there are real consequences in life. And sometimes it's good to address that. But anyways, it's just a really weird ramble to say I'm very, very, very happy about where I grew up and how I grew up.
It also makes you, there's not much that can bother you. And there's a lot of things you can withstand, when you grow up that way. When you don't grow up with much. And you do appreciate small things.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Smallest shit, man. I appreciate water so much. Like it's the stupidest thing, but like every time I like open them, like I realize that there's like an entire world of people that don't have that. Like, I appreciate the fact that I could open my bank account right now and never worry about overdraft. That is such a blessing to me. But if I grew up with two parents and like a 401k and a trust fund and I never had to struggle, I wouldn't even know what that feeling felt like. I wouldn't even know what that relief felt like because I never had the struggle. So I can't know what the relief is. So yeah, I don't know. I mean it's good. It's good life talk that we're having here. But yeah, a little bit off topic from basketball. Anyways, man, any final thoughts?
Um, I don't want to do this next year. I want to watch games that I care about.
I can
want to watch games
almost
that matter.
guarantee you we will. We will. I'm like 99.8% positive.
Because I guarantee you, all these pro tankers, ask
Mhm.
Pistons fans, when was the last time they were this happy?
What do you mean?
Pistons fans, when was the last time they enjoyed a season like this? Ask Pistons fans.
When they won the Cade Cunningham sweepstakes, respectfully,
So
they were very happy.
you think that the season to get him was more enjoyable or getting him was more enjoyable?
I think winning.
The lottery.
Yeah.
So you would put winning the lottery ahead of what they're doing now?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah,
I think
next
they're really happy right now, and I'm happy for them. And ironically, the next caller up is a Pistons fan. Ironically, so
I'm happy for the Pistons. I've always been a Pistons fan. I just like Detroit. I like the blue collar town. I love the Chauncey Billups led Pistons from 04, that 2000s team. So yeah, I'm a fan.
mm,
I mean, he's a rival to Scotty, so that's kind of weird, right? There's that aspect, but in terms of the teams, like, okay, which non-Raptor team? Because the Raptors aren't going to be in the playoffs. Who you got in the East? Like, who does your heart desire of what's left?
if you had to guess, who would you guess?
I would guess the Celtics. Your guy
You would be incorrect. Guess again.
Okay, it's not Indiana because you soured on
Siakam
Halliburton.
and Halliburton. Yep.
Yeah, you soured on Halliburton. It's not the Knicks.
I love OG, but can't stand the rest of that team.
Yeah. Maybe the Bucks, but they don't really have a chance. I know
Nope,
you like
it's not the
Giannis.
Bucks. You've gone through 4 options so far. You haven't picked the right one.
Okay, let me actually look at the standings, and the number 1 seed.
The Cavs? Not the Cavs.
Okay, well then I basically named them all. We have
Detroit basketball. You didn't name them all. That's the team I'm rooting for.
You're rooting for Detroit.
I am.
Okay, does that stem from underdog? You just an underdog guy? Because they're underdogs.
No, I love defense. I love SR Thompson. I love that whole team. And despite what people think about Cade, I may not respect him on the level of Scotty or Evan Mobley or whatever, but he's fantastic. He's really good. So
He's in a perfect situation for him.
Yeah, he's in a great situation for him. But like, I hate the fact that I have to root for Dennis Schroeder now, though. Like, that pisses me off. But there's something about Detroit teams playing like Detroit that really,
Yeah.
that like the hard-nosed city. Plus, I fuck with like a lot of people that come from Michigan. Like, my whole life, I've always liked people who came from Michigan. So I don't know, like Detroit, Jalen Rose, Rasheed Wallace, like
I lived in
really
Windsor.
state.
I lived in Windsor, Ontario, for about a year and a half as a kid, and it's so close to Michigan. It's so close to Detroit. Our basic cable, we were getting Pistons feeds growing up. So there was about a year and a half where I would just watch Pistons games. So there's a soft spot movie with the Pistons. But the last thing I'm going to say, the only way the Pistons even see the second round is they have to see the Pacers. They're not beating the Knicks, bro.
I got you.
Not happening.
All right, man. Have a good night. Appreciate you calling in. It's really nice catching up. I'm actually going to be at the Raptors game for the next game with Vince. I'm going to be with Vince for the season closer for the home season closer against Charlotte, and I
Oh
will
my
be
God.
throwing banana peels at the Raptors
You
from the stands. You know, like, no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be doing that.
that sounds
I'm
like a
just,
game you need to get drunk.
no. This sounds like a Mario Kart move where I just want them to slip so that we lose the game. This is my Mario Kart move. I'm throwing banana peels at them. Yeah. No, yeah, I someone literally posted this shit on Real GM. It was like a message. They said, "I have a perfect plan for how the Raptors can tank. We will start a GoFundMe for me to get a courtside seat so that I can throw banana peels onto the floor so that the players will trip and then have to miss games. It worked in Mario Kart. Guys lock in." And I just thought it was so funny. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm nostalgic about Mario Kart, but nevertheless, yeah. I mean, honestly, we need to shut down some players. Apparently, Cole Swider is too good to play as well, so it's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, man, have a good night. Appreciate you.
Yeah. See ya.
Peace. Okay, Yorgo. Unfortunately, I have like 2 minutes for you, my man, because I got to jump
Nah,
on
you're
off
good.
the stream. What's up?
Nah, you're good. I just want to say what's up. It was a fun game. Just want to see how you were doing because obviously, I didn't watch the whole stuff that was going on live because my boy SB was there. It was the Pistons Timberwolves game, so that was crazy. But yeah, overall, I'm happy. How about you, man?
I'm good. All blessed.
Yeah, nah, I that clip was so funny to me. I don't know why people are taking it so literal and serious. In my opinion, like I just feel like it was just a fun back and forth that happened. Like I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I don't know. I just felt like it was good content because obviously, like Pen, you and me talked about it beforehand, like about this whole content space and how PC is operated and ran, and
Mhm.
like I low key knew that you were gonna, I don't know on purpose, but like sort of antagonizing and bringing in the takes and being, you know what I'm saying, like one of those guys that, causes controversy. And it's worked out because look, after that clip has come out, bro, the amount of content I've seen from other people about that is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it takes. Okay, so here's the funny thing. Before I started, before I ever put my face on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
my biggest fear was having my face on anything.
Mm.
I'm a person who goes to a party and says no photos. No photos. I'm scared to death. Don't take photos. I'm not someone who likes being on video, and to conquer that fear has been such a unique gift for me. The idea that I could see like 100,000 views on a fucking video and I'm like talking shit, or like 2 million views on a fucking TikTok video with the Harvita Savonis thing, and I just don't care. I genuinely don't care. I'm just like, yeah, cool. 2 million people that I'm never gonna meet. I don't
And,
fucking care.
and you got thumbnails using your face now too. That's crazy. Like this, it's crazy how the content space works. I feel like people, because I see the comments sometimes too, and I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of people assume that like you care too much or you care this and that. And I don't know personally how you feel, but like I like from
I,
from what I've
I
heard of
I
you,
don't.
and it's been, yeah, like you really
You,
don't.
you
It's
you've known me for a
constant.
while. You know I don't
Yeah,
fucking care. But you
yeah,
know
that's
what's funny? Like my biggest beef with Blow initially that started the
mhm,
initial aux court was that
yeah,
he didn't mention my name. That
exactly.
So
Yeah.
now it's like I can't go into a fucking space without people being like, Pen be crash out, Pen be this, Pen's a loser, Pen's this. And I'm just like, okay, at least you know my name.
Yeah.
And I'm not a dramatic person. I'm not gonna clickbait for drama, especially on this channel. I'm not gonna do
Of
that. On
course.
on PC, I might do that. Sometimes I'll do that. But like it's good content for them. I don't really
Yeah.
care about for me, but from my perspective, I'm just like any publicity is good publicity is probably a good way to go about this content game.
Mhm.
And I know some people don't respect it, and some people are going to say that you're clip farming and you're clickbaiting, rage baiting, whatever. But I'm just like, you know what? I exist in 2025, bro. If I existed in 2000, I would carry myself differently. Anyways, I got to jump over to Ox's stream. I'm never gonna live down the duck accusations if I miss this. So I'll
Nah,
talk
for
to you
sure.
later,
Nah,
man.
you got it. We'll talk soon though. I do want to talk about some stuff
Yeah,
soon.
congratulations on all the shit the Pistons are doing, man. And I'm happy for you. You suffered a lot over the last few years. I'm happy for
Yeah,
you, and I'm gonna be rooting for the Pistons heavy
I
come playoff
appreciate
time.
you. And Raptors will be definitely better next year, and I will look
Well,
forward to that. Yeah,
Lord
I'm
knows we can't be worse. Okay, all
yeah,
right,
but I'm
peace,
gonna
man.
catch you on Ox stream. See you.
Peace. Okay. Jay Powell said, dude, here to defend Gifted. He said on his video, we read that. Pepperjack, I appreciate you. Take care of your mental, Rob. Treat yourself. I appreciate you. I'm actually going to treat myself to something. I know a lot of people say treat yourself to a coffee, treat yourself to whatever. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't ever go to what you guys put it for. But this $20, I'm actually going to do something like nice for myself tomorrow. I don't know what that something nice is. It might be, I don't know, buying like Haagen-Dazs. I don't know. Maybe that's not nice for me. Maybe I should do something actually nice for me that's actually productive and healthy. But I promise you, I will actually take you up on this. Jalen Carter, two grown men talking about their differences. Good on you, Penn. Thanks, Jalen. We've had a lot of differences. I really, I don't know if you're ever going to watch this or whatever, but I just want to let you know when you said that Emmett Till thing, I just instantly hated you immediately, and I have never really been able to let that go till this day. I genuinely don't hate a lot of people, but with you, unfortunately, because you said that thing, it just fucking, bro, like, and the fact that you had a lot of people defending you kind of just pissed me off. And the fact that Chill was kind of cool with it too. And just knowing about like growing up in like I can't imagine like I try to imagine myself saying that to someone that I knew, and I feel like I would have gotten shot. Like I said it back then, I'll say it right now. I just can't imagine saying that to a grown man. I just can't imagine saying that. So I apologize if I've had like a really negative energy towards you since that day. I've I've said that I will. I've told you honestly, and I don't lie. So we know. I messaged PC literally the next day and said I will never be on a stream again with Jalen. I don't want to be near this guy, and you know it's going to take me some time to figure out why what you said bothered me so much. Did it trigger some sort of reminder of some friend I had who had something similar said to him, and I watched him get hurt by it, and then I just, you already know Chill is like my favorite panelist, so that to me was like it was like a really weird thing, and I'm sure it was a joke. You said it was a joke. I'll move on. I'm gonna try to work on that. But good on you for doing this. I'm gonna I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna work on this. I'm actually gonna chew on it. I'm actually gonna think about that, and I'm just gonna try to internalize it. And you've always been like a genuinely nice guy for the most part, apart from that incident. And you calling me your backup dancer didn't sit well with me, but I understand I've kept that energy towards you, so you can definitely keep that energy towards me. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate you. Medved with the RJ plus BI plus Scotty plus Yak on the floor at the same time will be a crowded paint. I find it hard to see how this will work out with at least two perimeter shooters. I agree with you, but I also think BI and RJ can become better. But I also agree with you that I don't think RJ is the most optimal player for this lineup. And I wonder if this could mean that either RJ or Scotty could be staggered more with the bench units. Like they could still be starters just for the ceremonial starter thing, but they could probably work more off the bench. And our final super chat is it sucks, but right now, to tell you the truth, Cade is looking more better than Mobley and Scotty as a number one option right now. May change. Sure. I mean, Cade is coming out and averaging 27 points, I think 27 or 28 points, or 27 points. He's on the top 10 in MVP ladder. One can only hope that Scotty can get there. But I will tell you that Scotty's defensive impact, I believe his passing is better. I believe his rebounding is better. I believe his defense is better. Sure, the scoring efficiency and all that stuff, the three-point shooting for Cade has been better. The usage, the volume, the load has all been better for Cade. But I do think that to date, if I had to rank their careers, I think Scotty's had a better career than Cade. But I 100% believe that Cade has had a much better season than Scotty this year. I think Paolo has had a better season than Scotty this year. I think Franz has had a better season than Scotty. I think Alperen Şengün has had a better season than Scotty. I think Franz. I said Franz. There's a lot of players who've had a better season than Scotty that are his contemporaries and are close to his age. So I understand the frustration from Raptor fans, but all I'll say is be patient. I trust this young man. Like I trust him to be great, and I know he will be. All right. So I apologize if this stream went very, very off the rails. You came here for Raptors talk, and what you got was a very distracted podcaster hashing out issues that you probably don't care about, but I do care about them. And I'm going to ask for an audible on this one. I'm going to ask you to just forgive me. It won't be a regular occurrence to bring PC drama over onto Raptors chats. And I'm going to see if maybe I can even edit out some of this shit afterwards, so it's a little bit more of a smoother experience for people. But hey, I think it ended up being a lot more productive than the screaming match we had yesterday. I'm going to go over to Ox Court, see if we're going to get a screaming match over there. I'm going to try not to crash out. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Enjoy your night, 2:25 a.m. And lock in after March Madness tomorrow. We're going to do a post game after March Madness, after both games. Go Duke. Go Duke. Go, come on. Go Cooper Flag. But yeah, talk to y'all later. Have a great one.